field trip I went on for school?
Yeah, I remember.
You okay?
I'm fine, Alex. What about the field trip?
Well, the school nurse said it's really hard to get in the winter, but mine showed up right in the middle of homeroom.
Your what?
Poison ivy. The nurse said I could be out of school for a week. It's great. I'm contagious and everything.
That's wonderful, Alex. You get an A+ in poison ivy. Gotta call Dr. Evans.
Oh, no, that's okay. The nurse said all you have to do is put this pink gunk on it and let the air get to it and don't scratch it or it spreads. If it goes between your toes, you go crazy. Got anything to eat?
Alex, look, if this is contagious, would you just use one towel?
Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to deliver to this little red-headed person right here one postcard from Francine in the Bahamas. There you go. She says she's already met 4 divine men, and she hasn't even left the lobby yet. Here we have a first-class fistful of bills. Take those, little lady. And here's the piece de resistance, just what every woman wants, a skinny box of flowers.
Schneider, can't you just enter a room? Do you always have to do a stupid routine?
Well, excuse me, Ms. Mean Lips. I thought it might be a little amusing to walk in here and make a few amusing remarks. But I guess those remarks were not amusing, so if you'll excuse me, I'll remove my unamusing self.
All right. Schneider, sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Okay, I'm back. Whoa, somebody painted the kid pink.
Schneider, it's pink gunk for my poison ivy.
Poison ivy? Don't scratch it. I had that when I was a kid. I got it all over me, in my ears, up my nose.
Up your nose?
Yeah, both nostrils. I look like a second-hand flamethrower. Ms. Romano didn't read the card. It's from your ex. I just had to remember the big 4-0. Happy birthday, Love Ed. I love it when they spell love L-U-V. You what a nice guy. Yeah, what a rat. Why would you send it there?
Number 1, today is not my birthday. Number 2, he always confuses my birthday with his mother's, which is an indictment right there. Number 3, I really don't want to talk about it.
Uh-oh. Smell a rat. Ed sends you a rose and all your rivets fly off. Let me ask you a question. Still carrying a torch for this guy? So much for the torch. So, what is the problem?
Schneider, whatever it is, nobody can do anything about it.
Aha! So you do admit there is a problem.
Schneider, remember when I hurt your feelings a minute ago? I'm about to do it again.
I don't accept that. When the little bird has a broken wing...
Schneider, damn it, just get out of here.
Don't have to hit me in the head with a shovel.
Mark and I have an announcement, everybody.
This is going to be a bit of a shock, so we brought some tranquilizers. Champagne for you, for Barbara, and me. Root beer for Alex. I'm sorry, Schneider. We didn't know you were going to be here.
I'm not. Duchess of Indianapolis just kicked me out. Au revoir.
No, Schneider, wait a second. Come on, you're part of this, too.
All right, I'm back.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, at precisely 12:03 on the university campus, Mark Frederick Royer presented Barbara Jean Cooper with his tooth.
You see, back in the old days, you pinned a girl, right? But in the School of Dentistry, we tooth them.
Wait a second. Let me see if I have this straight. Are you two engaged?
Toll the bells and tell the people.
Now, we haven't set the date yet, and we don't know what we're going to do about finances, and we don't know where we're going to live, and he hasn't given me a ring yet. And he didn't say in so many words, will you marry me? But for some reason, I think we're going to get married.
Well, let's break open the champagne.
I'll get the glasses.
I'd give you a kiss or something, Barbara, but I got poison ivy.
Mail me the kiss. Mom?
Are you all right, Annie?
Yes, fine.
A toast.
Oh, no. This is not going to be one of those long ones, is it? I got a lab class to get back to.
This is a toast I learned when our ship put into Tortuga for repairs. May the bridal couple always be happy, even at low tide, when the stench from the clams shrinks your navel.
Mom, you're not drinking.
I'm sorry.
You know, this is one of those things, if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry, you know? I mean, I helped raise this little girl. I took her bicycle right out of the driveway a couple of times. Be happy.
Oh, Schneider, thank you.
And you and I, we got some talking to do, too, Mark. I have some fatherly advice to give you. Like, be good to her, or of course I'll kill you.
Congratulations, you guys. I'll be in my room.
I gotta go, too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Give me a second, honey. Mom, are you not happy about this?
Oh, darling, it has nothing to do with being happy. As you say, you haven't set the date, and your finances are a little shaky, and you don't know where you're going to live yet. As I read it, you're just making sort of a declaration of independence.
Which the mother country isn't happy about?
Is it something I did, Annie? Because if it is, I haven't done it yet.
We just want you to be happy for us.
Oh, darling, I am happy for you. I guess what I'm saying is, don't rush into anything. You're both so young. Give it time.
In other words, call ourselves engaged, but don't change a thing?
I'll grow on you, Ms. Romano. And it pays off. Look, I grew on Barbara, and she wound up with a gold tooth. I'll see you tonight.
Okay.
And remember, any girl wearing my tooth is not allowed to bite anyone but me. Or my relatives. Well, maybe not my Uncle Reuben.
You want to hear something silly? When Mark and I decided to get married, I couldn't wait to see the expression on your face when we told you. I giggled like a silly fool when we bought all that stupid champagne.
Yeah, I know, Barbara.
No, you don't know. Or you wouldn't have let your face go dead like that.
Barbara, listen to me. Mark seems like a good person. He loves you. You love him. I just have the gut feeling that you're not ready for marriage.
Well, then you better explain that to my hormones. They've been screaming for action for quite a while now.
No, I'm not talking biologically, Barbara. It's not your fault. It's mine. I haven't prepared you for the real world. Your sister either, for that matter. She plunged into marriage, and look at that mess.
I'm not Julie.
I have turned out a beautiful girl who looks like a woman who was about 20 minutes away from playing with dolls. You don't have the first
What do
idea.
you want me to do? What would you like me to do? Run for governor? Take Albert Schweitzer lessons? I'm sorry, Mom. I'm just a 20-year-old imbecile who wants to get married.
No,
Do you want to know something? I thought I turned out pretty good. I didn't know you were making all those mistakes, so poor dumb me. I was happy. Just do me a favor, okay? I'm not you. So don't inflict your dreams on me. Excuse me. I'm gonna go play with my dolls for a while.
Is she home? No, I can see by your faces. Tell me about it, Barbara, every detail. My baby is out there in this blizzard, and we have to act fast. She has very thin blood.
Grandma, like I told you over the phone, Mom and I had a fight.
Did you call Schneider?
Yeah, he's out someplace.
What's wrong with your arm?
I've got poison ivy.
Oh, good.
Be ashamed of yourself. Wandering around the freezing weather and nothing but your grubbies. Here, give me this. Here, okay. Sit down there. What if I hadn't come by just when I did? I mean, what am I going to tell the neighborhood? You know what I mean? I got a frozen red-headed popsicle sitting out in the stoop. You sure you don't want to go upstairs? Sure. Here, let me put this blanket on you. This is a terrific blanket. You know what I mean? This blanket, I put this inside of my sleeping bag whenever I go deer hunting.
Thank you.
Holy mackerel, your hair is all wet. I bet your feet are all. Let me see. Oh, for God's sake. Now listen. I gotta do something here. Now I know how you feel about liquor. But this is not liquor. This is brandy. Just think of it as French antifreeze. Okay? But watch it. It can knock you right off your keister. Okay. Now with this, all you do is you sniff and sip. Just sniff and sip, huh? That's right. Sniff and sip. Watch out you don't get any in your nose. Now get your towel. How could you do that? I mean, what kind of intelligence are we talking about here? Let me get you some, oh, I have some mucklucks. Maybe they bring you some good luck. Tell you, I don't understand women sometimes. Might tell me what's been going on?
Oh, Schneider, I would if I could. Look, I mean, I'm healthy, and my job is terrific, and I've got a daughter who is engaged to what seems like a very nice guy, but I'm so damn depressed, as if my whole life is just not worth a plug nickel.
I'm gonna put these in the oven on low. I tell you something, Mr. Romano. Maybe it's none of my business. Maybe you wanna give me a belt in the mouth for opening a big mouth. Here, keep this on you, keep you a little warm. Maybe you want to give me a belt in the mouth. But the thing is, you've been working very, very hard lately, and you haven't been dating, you haven't been going out. And when that happens to a woman, she doesn't go out, you know? I mean, well, you know, it kind of grunges up a bloodstream, you know?
No, I don't need a man.
I'll let that one go for now. Another thing is that, well, at a certain point in every woman's life, she gets hit with all this chemistry, you know?
It's not menopause either.
Takes care of the two biggies. It's not menopause, and it's not men at night. I don't mean to appear, you know, bossy or prying or anything. The only reason I say these things to you, Ms. Romano, and I mean this is from the heart, not the loins. I love you.
Oh. Schneider, I love you too.
Of course, I don't think my loins will ever speak to me again. I gotta tell you something. What you did out there tonight in the cold weather, that's dumb.
I know. But this is the winter of my discontent. I am looking at my life from the downhill side, Schneider. And you want to know what's over there at the bottom? Guess. Come on, Schneider, guess. Come on. You're no fun. Okay, I'm going to tell you, dear old friend, my own mortality. You want to know what I've done going uphill, Schneider? Nothing. And if you haven't done anything going uphill, then all you can do going downhill is keep right on going down.
You want to give me the breakdown on the amount of sniffing and sipping you did?
You know, Schneider, when I was walking around outside before, I remember this dream I had. Francine was in it. She was 12 feet tall, and she was surrounded by about 12 Fred Astaire's, and she was dancing from one Fred Astaire to the other Fred Astaire to the other Fred Astaire, and I kept trying to follow her, you know, but I kept tripping. And then it wasn't Francine anymore, it was Barbara. And she was waltzing down the aisle holding a bridal bouquet of baby bottles, and she was sucking on a pacifier. And then she got down to the aisle and the altar, you know, and what do you think was on the altar? Come on, I want you to guess. Come on, tell me. Come on, guess. Come on, tell. Okay, I'm going to tell you. On the altar was this huge pot of glue. One more step and you're stuck, Annie. Julie. I mean, Barbara. One more step. Fill her up, Schneider.
I think your slippers need basting.
I'm gonna try Schneider again.
Oh, good.
Hello, Schneider. You're home. We were calling you and...
Schneider, Anna's gone.
Mr. Spider went up the water spout.
That's the Itsy Bitsy Spider song. I taught her that when she was 3 years old. Schneider, you've got my daughter.
Wait, Miss Romano, please look out, will you?
Down in the rain and
Here.
right around. Out came the runner, up the rain.
mistake.
Snyder,
What?
the rumor is going around.
No.
I don't feel good.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I don't feel good.
That's all right. I gotta change these sheets tomorrow.
Wait a minute. Wait, I'm very dizzy.
I know. It's all right. Don't worry about dizzy. No, easy now. Let's just snuggle in there. There you go.
You animal!
Oh, no, Grandma. I would never.
Animal!
Hi, Mom.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Schneider. I want to apologize again for smashing you in the jaw.
Oh, that's all right. I was up at the count of 6. I could have gone on. I just thought I would stop by and check. See how you feeling this morning, Miss Romano.
I'm okay. Only my hair hurts and my teeth itch.
That's what I call a major league hangover.
Schneider, thank you for last night.
It was good brandy.
No. It was bearing my soul to a good friend. Thank you.
Well, I gotta go now. Mark's borrowing me for his exam.
Barbara, I'm not sure I like the sound of Mark borrowing you for his examination.
Don't worry, Grandma. It's nothing sexy. He's just taking a wax impression of my teeth.
Uh-huh.
Barbara, wait a minute. I didn't mean to fall apart at the biggest announcement of your life. You are a terrific young woman. I'm very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thanks. I love you. Well, bye.
Bye, honey.
I would also like to add my congratulations at the passing of your mood.
Mood?
Yeah, of course. Don't ever forget, please always remember the words of that great Irish poet when he wrote, "A woman's moods are like the Ides of March. So hang loose, April is coming up." The Irish, right?
Okay, Mom. Quit stalling.
Stalling?
You've been sweeping that same piece of carpet all morning long.
Annie, I'm going to tell you something I've never told another soul. When I was a young woman, I was happily married. I had a beautiful little daughter, you. We had a nice house. Your father drove a Packard. One morning I woke up and I hated it. Everything. The house, the Packard, your father, even you. Well, not you, really. Just my life. Annie, I thought I was going crazy. And you know, in those days, if you said anything like that to somebody, they'd either pat you on the head or have your bedroom walls quilted.
And?
And I thought I was the only one that ever happened to. But I'm not, am I?
No. No, Mom.
Oh, my baby. Oh, sweetheart. Oh, Annie. Well, Annie, honey, look at it this way. We're sharing something. Something miserable, but we're sharing it.
Thank you, Mom.
And Annie, one more thing, sweetheart.
Yeah.
One more thing. This thing you have, It takes a while, but it does go away.
Oh, when?
When you feel like washing a Packard.
Thank you, Mom. You.
Okay.
Yeah. That's marvelous. Ermine booties.
Well, she couldn't wear just anything in a gold-plated baby carriage.
So it was Francine's daddy who spoiled her first.
Well, who could resist that face? Look at this picture. The two of us taken in Atlantic City in 1949.
He's the one with the curls.
Adorable. I gotta tell you, Mr. Webster, you've hardly changed. Francine, well...
Careful.
Ann, why don't you call me Gus? Even my daughter calls me Gus.
You got it.
You just never looked like a pop to me. Now, are you going to give me a break and stay here for a while?
Sorry, kitten. Just over the weekend. I have to be in Palm Beach Tuesday.
Oh, excuse me. Well, you look just the same. You look wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, she is terrific. Send her in. Hey, my mom's here.
Annie, they have the greatest white sales going on. Oh, excuse me. I didn't know you were with a client.
Oh, no, it's fine, Mom. This is Francine's father.
Francine has a father. Excuse me. Of course, Francine has a father. I'm sure she has a mother, too. How do you do? I'm Catherine Romano.
Gus Webster. A pleasure, madam.
Well, and a pleasure to you, too. Yeah, Annie, could I steal you away for half an hour? I want you to help me get the right colors.
No, I'm sorry, Mom. It's a very busy day. A half hour today would be just terrible.
I really do need you to help me, honey.
Thank you.
Yes.
You gotta trust me.
Oh, yes, wait just a second. Annie, excuse me. It's Dan Hollingsworth. He needs to go over the opening day ad, and he wants us both on.
Okay.
Excuse us, please.
Yes, Dan. Go ahead.
Well, it looks like we raised a couple of career girls.
Well, it's not exactly the career I picked for Annie, but she seems happy.
May I make an observation?
Well, of course.
You have lovely eyes, warm and alive.
Thank you. They're brown.
Yes, I see.
Francine, do you have the original copy over there? No, you kept that on your desk. It's in your papers.
Hold on a minute.
Looks like they're going to be tied up for a while.
Yeah, busy, busy, busy.
Catherine, I happen to have a free afternoon, and I have a sudden urge to look at linens. If you want some company,
Oh, I would like that.
I'll get my coat.
Good. Listen, we'll start off at Block's. You'll love the store.
Is that like Bloomingdale's in New York?
No.
Filing's basement in Boston.
No, it's a wonderful...
I'll tell you, I have a hunch they really liked each other. I mean, they didn't even bother to wave goodbye. They were out the door like that.
Oh, that's so sweet. How romantic.
Yeah. What's he like?
Well, he's very gracious and gentle. He's got perfect manners. Not at all like Francine.
Okay, get a hunch, bet a bunch.
It's raffle time at the lodge again.
That's right. Remember what you won last year?
A can of Red Devil chewing tobacco.
What's good for your gums is good for the lodge.
Schneider, how much are they? I got $1.
I'm sorry, kid. Miners are ineligible. Hand that dollar bill to Barbara. Thank you very much, kid. And may Dame Fortune flash her gold-capped teeth in your direction and bring you the $1,000 first prize.
$1,000. What's the second prize?
Or we have a lovely oil portrait of a two-cycle chainsaw. I'm only kidding. We have some, for second prize, we have some lovely toiletry sets from Taiwan. Turn them over, they say, maybe.
I'll get them.
Hi, darling.
Catherine, the lodge is...
I'll take a book.
I should have been in sales.
Oh, Annie, this is my lucky day.
Oh, Mom, you had a good time.
Boy, did I ever.
Here you go, Catherine. You can fill this out later. For now, you owe me 10 simoleons.
Gus and I had lunch. We went shopping. We went to the art museum. Oh, Annie, he's so cultured, so fine, such a man of the world.
Gee, sounds like a good candidate for the lodge. We're having a recruiting drive.
No, Schneider, he doesn't live in Indianapolis.
Well, that's okay. We're just interested in the initiation fees anyway.
And Annie, there's something else. We made another date, and I'm cooking for him tomorrow night. And after that, well, who knows?
Oh, boy. Grandma, we better have a talk.
About what? About what you don't know and what she's forgotten?
It's such a shame that my sofa's being reupholstered, and then there's this gossipy old neighbor next door who just sits there with her ears stapled to my wall.
Okay. Mom, okay, you can use our apartment.
Oh, I couldn't. Yes, I could. Oh, thank you. Oh, Annie. Oh, Annie, this is going to be such fun.
Well, Grandma, I thought he was leaving town.
Barbara, when it comes to men, never underestimate your grandmother.
I haven't had coffee this good since the Hotel Astor in New York. Remember the Hotel Astor?
Oh, yes. I spent one weekend there when I was visiting my husband during the war.
Good place to be stationed, the Hotel Astor.
No, he was at Fort Dix.
Oh, he should have been at the Astor. Good to the last drop.
Burns and Allen.
What about them?
Well, that's who said it. Maxwell House was their sponsor, and George Burns always used to say, good to the last drop. And then one night, Gracie Allen said, what's wrong with the last drop?
It was a lot better than television.
Oh, yes. You know, radio left something to the imagination.
Today, everything is right out in the open.
Yes, there's no mystery left.
No illusion.
No magic.
It's all sex.
No romance. Just off with the clothes.
1, 2, 3, and into bed. Catherine.
Oh, Gus, this is crazy.
Who cares?
I know, but we don't know each other.
We know enough. We both love Mortimer Snerd.
Gus, the kids will be home from the movies soon.
Oh, of course, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I feel great. It's been a long time since I've been an animal.
Gus, that is so good to hear. I'm so tired of playing bingo and doing needlepoint. I didn't realize that I could make anyone feel like an animal again.
Catherine, you're a very sensuous and exciting woman.
Oh, my goodness, Gus. I think I had better clear the table.
I'll give you a hand.
No. What I want you to do is go over there and sit down and make yourself comfortable.
Oh.
And I'll clear up. My, that's a nice jacket. It's so spiffy.
I got it in Chicago.
Oh.
I like to dress well. Of course, in today's economy, it's not easy. Boy, it's hard to save money today.
You're not kidding. I don't know what I would do without my husband's life insurance policy.
Prices are outrageous today.
I know. You know, I can remember when margarine was 32 cents a pound, and it didn't talk back to you.
Catherine.
Uh-huh.
Come over here and sit down.
I don't think I trust myself.
Take a chance. Come on. Yeah.
Gus.
Catherine. No. Oh, closer. Come on. Come on.
My goodness, this is so cozy.
All we need is a Sinatra record.
Oh, we could make our own Sinatra record. Here we are, out of cigarettes.
Holding hands and yawning. Look how late it gets. Two sleepy people by dawn's early light, and too much in love to say goodnight.
I give it an 85. Good lyric, tough beat to dance to.
We were just reminiscing.
I think I was reminiscing off key.
No, you weren't.
Gus, you haven't met my beautiful granddaughter, Barbara.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
A pleasure.
And this is my little,
Waif.
This is my buddy, Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Hi, I know your daughter. She's a knockout.
Oh, you've got good taste. Thank you.
Well, boy, I'm really exhausted. Those intergalactic war movies really get to you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Yes, good night. That's what I meant. Good night. It was very nice to meet you. Good night.
I think I'll have some pie and milk. There's probably some pie in my room. I don't know.
Anne, why don't you come and sit with us for a minute? I'd like to get to know you better.
Oh, Gus, that's really very nice. On the other hand, I
Hi, Annie. I just picked up the proof of the ad. I think you better go over the copy of it. Gus, what are you doing here?
Francine, your father and I have had the most wonderful evening, dining and singing.
Oh, I didn't know you were coming here.
Francine, I tried to call you.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Francine, could I get you a cup of coffee?
No. No, thank you. I have to leave. And so does Gus. And you and I will go over this in the morning.
We were just getting to know each other.
Oh, I'm sorry, but... Well, I think you two have gotten to know each other well enough. Are you ready?
Yes. Well, good night, Catherine. Thank you for a lovely dinner and a memorable evening. Good night, Anne.
Good night, Gus. I don't know.
Oh, good morning, Anne. Fred Wilson has been trying to reach you. Must be important if he's calling on Saturday.
What's the matter, Francine? My mother not good enough for your father?
Now look.
Look, if you think I am thrilled about our families getting together, then you have another...
You don't know what you're saying.
I do know that my mother was very hurt last night.
I am sorry.
And I am sure that your father was very embarrassed. If you had half the manners, the sensitivity, the class of that man.
Please. You don't know my father at all.
I know that he is a sweet, charming, gentle...
Con man.
What?
Yes, Anne. My father is a professional con man. He's a crook.
He's a crook? What do you mean, your father is a con man?
All right, I will tell you. I've never told this to anyone before. Of course, it's not the kind of thing you want printed in Who's Who.
It's so hard to believe.
Oh, yes, I know. That's why he's so good at it. With that sweet face, he's the Michelangelo of bunco artists.
That's why you were trying so hard to get him away from my mother. Why would he be interested? Oh, my God. All that insurance money she has.
You hope she has.
Oh, Francine, I gotta call her at her apartment. Francine, how long have you known this about him?
Oh, since I was a kid.
It's ringing.
Yeah, when other kids were busy playing Ring Around the Rosie, I was marking cards and slipping worms into caviar at fancy restaurants.
There's no answer.
We'd go from town to town, clipping the local yokels and suing the restaurants.
I'm gonna try her at my house.
I remember one summer we spent going from door to door as missionaries to Zanzibar. He was Father Webster and I was Angelica. My parents were eaten by cannibals.
That is terrible.
No, actually, that one was kind of fun.
No, I mean, there is no answer.
I don't believe this. You have not listened to one word I've said.
You're right. I'm sorry, Francine, but at this very minute, that con artist father of yours might be sweet-talking my mother out of every cent she has.
You're right. Try her at Gus's hotel.
Oh, come on, Francine. My mother would never go to a man's hotel. Where's he staying? Hello? Hi, Barbara? Honey, slow down. I can't understand. Barbara, I can't understand you. Grandma bought what?
Oh, no, not the 3 acres in Florida again.
No, honey, she's there. Hold her there. I'll be home as soon as I can. Okay, bye.
Are we too late?
Well, my mother has just bought a brand new car, and she doesn't drive.
Oh.
Mom, how could you do such a stupid, childish, idiotic...
Eddie, it is not what you think at all. We had this wonderful breakfast, and then we were strolling along, arm in arm.
And you just happened upon this automobile agency.
Right, where they had all these Cadillacs.
He's a crook.
Francine, I would like to apologize for my daughter's
bunco
behavior.
artist, a flim-flam man.
What was it? Bait and switch? Pigeon drop? The old compromising photographs?
Alex?
Gus Webster is an investment broker. Francine, how can you let them talk about your father that way?
Catherine, I'm sorry, but I am afraid that Anne is right. I really do feel awful about this, but the truth is, you've been taken.
Come to think of it, he showed me a disappearing coin trick. It was my quarter that disappeared.
You're all making this up.
Grandma, I don't think they are.
I don't think so either.
Oh, I should never have let him get near you. I had no idea he was this desperate. I don't mean desperate.
Oh, it's like they say, there's no fool like an old fool.
You can add damn fool too, Mom. You needed that money. It was your nest egg.
Hello, Ann.
Gus! Oh, Gus, I'm so glad to see you. He's here. He came back. You see, he came back just like he said he would.
My goodness, what a greeting. Hello, everybody.
Where's the car, Gus?
Nice to see you, too, Ann.
I would like to talk to you, Gus.
Yeah, me too. Can I have my quarter back?
Well, of course, my boy. There you are. And, Catherine, here's your money. Well, most of it. A check for $12,000. You'll receive the rest of your money shortly.
Let me see that.
Oh, Gus, please forgive me for what I was thinking.
Wait a minute. This check is from a used car agency.
Yes, a subsidiary of one of the many corporations I do business with.
Boy, I'd like to take a ride in that new caddy.
Not today, Alex.
Why not, Gus?
Well,
Be together. Let's see, this is scam number 33, one of the all-time classics. Gus, would you like to explain this, or should I?
Francine, these people aren't interested in the technical aspects of supply-side economics.
Catherine, your $16,000 car was sold to a used car dealer for $12,000. Gus knows that the used car dealer will become suspicious and call the new car dealer to verify ownership. When the new car dealer hears that a car that he sold for $16,000 was resold for $12,000 only a few hours later, he will...
He will naturally think that he's got a phony check. But since it's Saturday, he can't call the banks to verify it, so he calls the cops.
And has you both arrested. And then Gus will sue him for slander and false arrest and make a hefty out-of-court settlement.
Sings, doesn't it?
You were going to have me arrested?
Now, Catherine, it only would have been for overnight.
Overnight? In the slammer?
We'd be together.
Oh, that is the lowest, slimiest,
We're in
most
the
disgusting...
money. We're in the money. We picked the ticket, and someone you won.
Schneider, for heaven's sakes, we are trying
I
to
have been empowered to announce that one amongst you has won the grand prize of $1,000. I hold my hot little fist right here, the winning stub. And the number is... But before I announce the number... Please, I would like to offer you all $50 each for your tickets.
Schneider, who won?
Catherine, I'll offer you $100.
Do I? You mean I won? I won? I can't believe it. I never won anything before in my whole life. I can't. Give me the money. Give me the money.
Well, we have one little technicality. Now, if you remember, for good luck, you filled out the stub in Gus Webster's name.
In my name, $1,000?
Schneider, give that ticket to my mother.
Yeah, she paid for it.
Well, now, wait a second. This is a technicality, and according to Napoleonic law, whomsoever faces on the stubbest of the ticket...
Stay out of this, Schneider.
Please report.
It's mine. It's my name is on it.
Gus, you give that ticket to Catherine.
Now,
Yes,
right
because I
this
paid for it.
minute,
It's
it's
my
only
ticket.
fair.
Hold it. I'm tired of your accusations, your insults, and your whinings.
But you lied to me. You used me.
Oh, Joe.
I must have been a very poor father. How wrong of me to have instilled the person you are today. And you, Catherine, how I must have hurt you. Sweeping you away from your precious bingo games and your needlepoint into a kaleidoscope of adventure and passion. I shall be on my way now, Catherine, but I want you to have this winning ticket. You'll receive the rest of your money shortly. Goodbye to you all. I'm sorry you only chose to see the worst in me.
Oh, Gus. Gus, wait. Wait, please, Gus. Everything is happening so fast. I'm so confused.
It's better this way, Catherine. Better it's over with.
But will I ever see you again?
Well, that's hard to say. In my business, one is constantly on the move.
Gus, what you said to me last night, did you mean that when you said that I was a sensual woman?
You know I did.
Oh, Gus, I'm going to miss you.
I'd ask you to come with me, but it's not for you. You're too pure and innocent. Farewell, my love. And don't you worry about me. I'll be okay. The open road is the only ticket I'll need. Now, I'm not referring to the raffle ticket.
Gus, the raffle ticket would mean a lot to you, wouldn't it?
Oh, I couldn't. All right, but it's just a loan. Oh, Catherine, wait. This isn't the raffle ticket. This is your laundry ticket.
It'll be ready Tuesday.
You switched tickets on me. Catherine, you're wonderful. We'd be terrific together.
Oh, yes, I suppose we would. Gus.
Catherine.
Remember the line from the song, "We just couldn't say good night."
Yes.
Yeah, well, good night.
Mom, how many people did we invite to Schneider's surprise party? Okay, don't answer that. Let's see. I figured there's all of us, plus Beer Belly, and his 2 other friends from the lodge, and Miss LaRue. I figure 9.
1,000.
Okay, 1,000. It's your money.
They say that 1,000 in-place steps is equal to half a mile and 300 calories. Why are you making that cake right in front of my eyes?
Oh, I just want Mark to know that he's got a woman who knows her way around the kitchen. Tell you what, Mom, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm not going to offer you a piece of this cake for your own good. You just knocked off 300 calories running your buns off.
I'll get the milk.
Right. I also baked a cake for Schneider's birthday. Do you think he suspects a surprise?
No way. He's been dropping hints like crazy.
Oh, poor baby. I think he's running out of excuses to come by. You know, he actually came over yesterday to rotate our light bulbs.
Yes, I know. This morning he came over to see if our ice tray's jammed. Oh, I just hope we can hold them off until tomorrow night. Let me taste this. Oh, Barbara, this cake is delicious.
Well, go easy on it, Mom. I made it for Mark.
Well, you better hide some. Alex, the mouth that walks like a boy, is due home any minute.
Ah, yes. Jaws 3. I better put a couple pieces aside. I promised Mark I'd come by and see him for lunch tomorrow.
No, you don't. You have an appointment with Dr. Kalin at noon tomorrow. The nurse called to remind you.
Oh, that's right, my checkup. I wonder if it's too late to cancel.
Hey, you've canceled twice already. You can't keep doing that.
And you're not supposed to eat cake. Deal? Deal? What deal? You push a piece of cake aside and I'm supposed to go through a full physical, gynecology and all?
Hi there, Miss Romano.
Hi.
Hi, Barbara. Yeah, the rainy season's coming along. I thought I'd come by and check your ceilings.
Schneider, we live on the 4th floor of a 5-story building.
Uh-huh. Did you ever hear of President Reagan's trickle-down theory? Man used to be a meteorologist. What's the matter with you?
Oh, nothing. I just have a physical tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh, I know what you mean. You should be glad you're not a man. I can never cough when they ask me to. And then they come asking for all that blood, you know what I mean?
Schneider, I really don't think we want to hear about it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I remember one time this doctor, he comes at me with a needle the size of a baseball bat, right? So like a jackass, you can't find a vein. Now he's poking and he's jabbing, and the vein keeps slipping away like a piece of wet spaghetti, you know? Oh, this ain't gonna happen to Barbara. I'm talking about a Navy doctor. Anyway, needle breaks off in my arm, you know? Every time my heart pumps, the needle goes...
Schneider.
Like a tuning fork. Give me a tourniquet.
Weren't you about to leave?
Ah, no, Russ. Yeah, send me a mail. Got mixed up with some of mine. Mailman always has problems this time of year, you know? So many birthdays this time of year.
Yeah, Schneider, that's right. You do have a birthday coming up just about now, don't you?
Oh, no, I don't think so. No.
Oh, I think it's tomorrow.
Oh, my God, it must have slipped my mind.
Yeah, Barbara Schneider has a birthday tomorrow. Schneider, if we don't happen to see you tomorrow, happy birthday.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Couple of pals. Hey, happy birthday, toodaloo. Terrific.
Hi, Schneider. Schneider?
What?
Oh, pass me right up. You okay?
Alex, in the panoply of life, trying to face the world without a friend is like trying to milk a cow with boxing gloves on, you know? It's tough to get a grip on things.
Schneider, what are you talking about?
Well, I got a birthday tomorrow. Nobody cares. Not a soul. Nobody. Que sera la vie, you know?
Schneider, wait a second.
What?
Come here.
What?
Look, I really shouldn't be telling you this, but...
Tell me what?
Well, you see, we're gonna give you a surprise party tomorrow night.
A surprise puff for me?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah. I got your favorite stuff right here.
What do you got?
Hot dogs, anchovies, beef jerky.
Beef jerky! I remember the beef jerky! You're gonna pin the tail on the wall and a donkey with everything?
Yeah, but Schneider, just remember, you're not supposed to know. You're not... Right, so, Schneider, don't tell anybody.
Oh, Barbara, I didn't see you sitting there in the dark. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I called you at work. They said you hadn't come back after lunch. Did you see Dr. Kalin?
Mm-hmm. Then I come home.
You did? I'm calling here all afternoon. How come you didn't answer the phone?
I guess I just didn't feel like talking to anybody.
Hey, you okay? Barbara? Is it the doctor? What'd he say? Look, would you answer me right now? Or I am calling Dr. Kalin myself.
Mom, I don't know how to say it.
I've got to tell you, you're scaring me to death.
I can't have children. I can't have a baby.
I don't understand. Why?
How do I know? I guess it's not part of the vast eternal plan.
Okay, what did Dr. Kalin say exactly?
He said that it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, for me to conceive.
Just like that?
Well, we could always use the words infertile, or how do you like barren? Personally, I think sterile has a nice ring to it.
Hey, stop that.
Or we could always go with empty or useless. How about misfit or freak?
Oh, baby. Okay, all right. Shh. All right, my sweet. Come on. Oh, honey. Okay, if you can, baby, try to tell me about it, okay?
Okay.
Okay? Shh.
He said I probably have something called endometriosis.
Which is?
That means that in my particular case, even with treatment or possible surgery, my chances of having a baby probably fall in the miracle category. This isn't fair. All my life, all I've wanted is to get married and have children, lots of them.
What I can't understand is how he can tell you something this serious in one afternoon.
It doesn't take a lab test to find this out, Mom. Simple pelvic examination and my future's ruined.
But you didn't have any warnings. You had no symptoms. Honey, I really think we need to get a second opinion.
I already did. Dr. Kalin sent me right over to someone who's an expert in this field.
And?
She took this ultrasound test. It's like an X-ray. And she agreed with Dr. Kalin.
Okay, I know that talking about this right now is premature. But there is something called adoption, you know.
It's not the same.
Young lady, look at me. Look at me. Now, do you think that I would love you any less if I hadn't given birth to you? Oh, darling, I know how you feel.
Oh, the hell you do! You don't! You carried 2 babies. Julie is pregnant right this second. Why is this happening to me? Am I being punished for being a good girl?
Okay, look, I wish I could kiss you and tell you this is a bad dream. You'll wake up, it'll all go away. I can't tell you that. The only thing I can say to you is that I'm here, I love you, and anything we can do, anything, we'll do it, okay?
What's Mark gonna say?
I don't know. What would you say if the situation were reversed, huh?
I don't know.
It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Hiya, gorgeous. Get your coat, I'm starving. That sounds like I want to eat your coat.
Mark?
You gotta believe me, Barbara, I don't want to eat your coat. Your purse, maybe.
Mark, I want to talk to you.
Oh, fine, we can talk on the way down to Luigi's. I hope you like Chinese food.
I want to talk now.
Oh, you mean like you're serious? I'm sorry. What is it?
It's about us.
Right? By us, I presume you mean you and me.
I've been thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mark, maybe you and I really aren't right for each other after all.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Huh?
Sure, we're crazy about each other. Well, I'm reasonably sure of that because we keep saying it. I'm probably the happiest I've been in my whole life. Conclusion, we're not really right for each other after all. Makes great sense.
Damn it, Mark. Can't you ever be serious?
Sure, Barbara, but you're not making any sense.
I can't marry you.
Oh, now that makes sense.
Mark, stop it! I can't marry you because it would not be fair to you. And if you say that makes sense one more time, I swear I'll kill you.
Are you trying to tell me that you woke up this morning and you said, gee, that's funny, I don't love Mark anymore?
No, of course not.
Well, then what is it? Perhaps it's some deep, dark secret you're not telling me, like maybe you're a female impersonator? Boy, that's a hell of a disguise. Barb, if that's your real name.
Mark, you're making this very difficult.
What is it?
I can't have children.
What?
I just found out from the doctor today, and the chances are too slim to discuss, so no babies. Everything we've talked about, all our plans are gone, finished.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Well, how do you know this for sure? Who's the doctor?
2 doctors, and my mother already said all the things you're about to say. We'll check into it, and we won't quit, and all the rest. Isn't this the place where you're supposed to throw your arms around me and tell me it doesn't matter? Look, Mark, I know you must be a little stunned, because I know I am. Mark. Mark, honey.
I'm a great comfort, aren't I? Yeah, I guess I am a little stunned. I think I need a little time to pull myself together.
Okay.
I love you. I'll call you later.
One of the great mysteries of the world. You put 8 socks into a dryer and 7 come out. They should put a warning on those things. Caution, this dryer eats socks.
What time is it?
It's almost 8 o'clock. Mark will call. He said he would.
That was last night. It's been almost 24 hours. Might as well face it. I've lost him.
Look, you gave him a lot to think about. Don't jump to conclusions.
24 hours is not a conclusion. It's a fact.
He'll call. He loves you.
How could he? I'm not even a whole woman.
I'm not even going to dignify that remark with an answer.
It's true.
Do you honestly believe that the only value a woman has is to bear children?
It's just that Mark has choices. Why should he be punished for the rest of his life because of my inadequacies? When I think of all the women who don't even want to have children, if only this hadn't happened to me.
If only. Boy, those
are... Well, I took a bath.
That's terrific.
Shouldn't we be blowing up balloons or something?
What for?
For Schneider's surprise party.
I forgot to tell you. We called the party off.
How come?
Something came up.
But I took a bath.
The shock will wear off.
Well, if the party's off, I think I'll go to the library. Debbie Nixon hangs out there. I don't want this bath to go to waste.
Yeah.
See you later.
I'm gonna take a walk.
Want some company?
No, this time I need to be alone.
Okay. I will accompany you to the lobby, though. Got another load of wash to put up.
Well, I guess nobody's home. Well, I think I'll open the door with my trusty passkey. Door's open. Think I'll come in. I guess I better walk over to the kitchen area. I'm approaching the kitchen area now. Wow. Lo and behold, there's no one in here either. You guys are really good. You're really terrific. I gotta hand it to you. Come on, surprise. I know about surprise. Come on out. I really appreciate you going to all this trouble. And me, what a nice bunch of you. You're the best pals, best friends I have in the whole world. You're the best hungry friends I have. Some surprise party. Not a bunch of pals.
Schneider?
Hey,
Schneider, what are you...
You're supposed to give me a surprise party, not a surprise heart attack.
What are you doing here? Your birthday. Oh, Schneider, you look very nice.
You like it? My birthday suit.
Come on, Schneider, let's have that birthday party.
Nobody here.
We're here. We have presents and everything.
Can't have a birthday party with 2 people. What kind of presents here?
I baked a cake, and we have some champagne. Yes, sir. That's what we need, a good party.
Big presents, little presents?
Oh, Barbara, hi. I'm really glad you're back. Hi, Schneider. You look real nice.
My birthday suit.
Oh, your birthday.
Come on, Mom, join the party.
Listen, I didn't expect any presents. I mean, after all.
Okay. Nope, but I will be.
You sure?
No.
Hi. I wasted my bath after all. The library was closed. I bumped into Mark.
I got it! Now I got it! You have my birthday, surprise birthday. You're bringing the guests in one guest at a time. I love
Barbara, I have to see you.
Okay, fine.
Now, alone.
Yes, of course. Schneider, Alice, why don't we
No,
go
no,
in
no,
the
no,
other
no,
room?
no. This won't take but a minute.
it. I don't believe this. They got a present that's so big they need 2 people to carry it. I don't believe it. Let's light the candles.
Now, Barbara, don't say anything. Just listen, okay? I want kids. Now, some guys don't, but I do.
Mark, please, I'm one of that
Now, listen,
too.
this is really tough for me, so don't say anything. Now, the picture in my head included you and the family, not you alone, not me alone.
I understand that.
No, you don't. Kids aren't just for mothers only, Barbara. Kids are for fathers, too. Nobody seems to understand that.
I know. And you didn't call.
I didn't call because I didn't know what I wanted to say. I got in my truck and I drove halfway across Indiana trying to figure out what in the hell to do about this. Now I know.
It's over.
Is that what you think I'm trying to say?
Mark, please.
Damn it, Barbara, are you gonna talk the rest of our lives here? It was my grandmother's. When I finally came to my senses and realized that the most important thing in my life was you, I went and got it. Barbara, will you marry me?
Oh, I love you.
I love you. So we'll have our own kids or we won't, or we'll adopt kids or we won't, or we'll have puppies or we'll have tropical fish. But we'll be together.
Okay. This is gonna work out twice as good, right? I mean, I get a party here, then the guys on at the lodge, they throw me a party. I really gotta hand it to you. I mean, this whole thing, you arrange it like a real entrepreneur. Here they come now. Barbara, just like I was just telling your mother, in the great prairie of life, when you round up the wagons to fend off attack, you're lucky to wind up with just a couple of friends and your own scalp. Yeah. I mean, birthdays are terrific. You know, right now, I'm probably the happiest person in Indianapolis.
Come on, let's sing happy birthday.
Let's sing it, yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Schneider. Happy birthday to
you. Big trouble. Big trouble.
You always get like that when you're trying to write. Don't worry, I've got faith in you.
At Maxim's Lighting and Electric, the lighting is the maximum.
Big trouble.
Could you not do that, please? It's making me really crazy.
When is Schneider gonna finish fixing that tub?
I heard that. Relax, will you? You tell a brain surgeon to rush a lobotomy? You know what the problem is in there? Dog hairs.
Dog hairs?
Nothing personal. Got enough dog hairs in that drain to reconstruct the Russian wolfhound.
Why does everybody automatically look at me? Okay, I was helping Jeffrey Feister make some money. You guys met Jeffrey a couple of times, right? Anyway, he washes dogs after school for $2 a dog. His mother wouldn't let him use their tub anymore.
What a vicious woman.
So we've been washing them over here. So far, I guess it was. I didn't think. I'm sorry.
Apology accepted. No more dogs.
No more dogs.
No more interruptions. No more Barbara. No more Schneider. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, that's really terrific. Guy comes up here and he does an emergency drainectomy and he gets the old kiss off. All right. Tell you what, Ms. Romano, no more house calls. You got a problem with your drain? You call my office. Bring the drain in.
Oh, a notion. Thought. Nothing brilliant. Just a trigger. Please.
Oh, Alex! Oh, I'm sorry.
Apology not accepted. I told you not to play with that ball in here. Are you happy now?
I'll top it up with something. I'll pay for it.
With what? The money you made ruining the drain? Alex, do you have a problem? Did I do something bad to you? Are you deliberately trying to see how far you can push me?
Let me help. What can I do?
Right now, I don't care. As long as you don't do it here. It's all over. God.
Alex, what's going on?
Nothing. Jeff, you might as well know. We're out of the dog business.
Listen, I'm surprised it even lasted this long, really. Say, whose camper's this?
Schneider's. Don't bother, it's locked.
What's he got inside? Looks like a great camper.
Yeah, well, he's got a stove, a bed, a TV. Hey, he's my friend. I even know where the key is.
Cool. Let's go on inside and take a look around.
Jeff, nah, I don't think so.
Okay. Be that way. See you around.
Jeff. Come on back. Turn around, okay?
What?
Just turn around. Thanks. Okay. Now, don't mess around. Just look.
You got it.
Well, here we are.
Alex, this is some class layout he's got here, huh?
Yeah, Schneider was in the Navy.
Is that a picture of his mother? Okay. Sure.
No, I've been trying to cut down.
Come on.
One, maybe. Relaxes me. It's not my brand.
Me neither. I gotta go. Bye.
Sing it. Oh. Oh.
Hey, but it's great after being out late, walking my baby back home.
Could you not sing? I would really appreciate
Hey, I got this coffee stain out of here already. Of course, I'm using industrial strength water. You smell smoke? That sounded like it was right outside. Holy mackerel, there's 3 engines down there. Some poor son of a gun's home is on fire right in this neighborhood. Mom, these guys are really professional. You gotta watch this. They're unspooling the hoses now.
Your soul will glow.
They're bringing the hoses up to this building.
The glow from a Maxim fixture. The glow from a Maxim fixture will light your soul. That's not right.
I think we have some fire.
Fire, that's good.
Mr.
The
Romano,
glow from Maxim
the
will set
building's
your
got
soul
a
on
hot
fire.
fire.
That's not bad.
Mr. Romano.
Oh,
Romano.
my God.
Listen.
I tried to stop and I knocked on doors.
All right, everybody, I'm gonna go check it out. All right, now if the smoke gets too thick, crawl on the floor. If the floor gets too hot, crawl along the wall.
Barbara, get out of the tent, quick! The building is on a little bit of fire.
Sorry, that was so fast.
Okay, fine. Calm. Everybody stay calm.
Calm, Alex, stay calm.
I did everything I could.
Remember we made a list once of everything we're supposed to take in case there was an emergency?
Uh-huh.
Okay, where's the list?
I don't know.
So much for the list.
Okay, let's what tells?
All right, I checked it out. We're on fire! All right, now look, we will vacate these premises in an orderly fashion, right? Taking care not to go down on the elevator, and do not dawdle on the stairs.
Now.
Where are you going?
The fire!
I will not let you go out with those extremities so extreme. Here, put this on.
Oh, I hate this coat.
And throw it in the fire.
Well, any idea how this started?
It was in the garage.
Oh, thank God you're okay. What happened?
I don't know. Schneider's camper was on fire. when
Come
I
on,
was there.
come on. Schneider's camper was on fire.
Oh, thank you.
You know, this is real nice of you to do this, Miss Romano.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, come on. Everybody on the top floors are taking in a few people, Mr. Roberts. It's really no big deal.
All the smoke damage is on the lower levels, right? So who lives on the ground floor? Charlie Roberts.
You and your daughter can flip for the couch.
Here you go.
Oh, thanks.
I'll get it.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, Mrs. Cashman, come on in. I'm so sorry. Look, until we can figure something out, why don't you sit over here, okay? Is there anything I can get you? Some coffee or hot cocoa?
Would you have a little gin?
Here you go, Miss Hart.
Ah, look, this is your real hero, Miss Romano. This guy, he was running around knocking on doors like a regular Paul Revere.
Are you okay, Alex?
Yeah.
Here you go. Are you all right?
I got a dead bird.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. What was his name?
Birdie. 10 years he was in perfect health. Now, a little fire in an apartment house. Bye-bye, Birdie.
Well, about all it's... Guys down at the lodge bought me an urn.
What do you estimate the total damage at, Schneider?
Well, the preliminary insurance report says $150,000.
But the building, this building, I mean, I looked over this building like a shepherd looks over his flock. I let you down. I should be deflocked.
Schneider, you didn't let anybody down. The fire marshal said it was probably the work of vandals. Come on, man.
Schneider, Miss R,
I'll
I've
tell
got
you what,
something
they
to
were
say.
punks. That's what they were. Is there some law that kids today can't be more like Alex?
Yeah. When did they hear about this at school, Alex?
Bertie always liked Alex. Bertie was nobody's fool.
Well, young Mr. Lincoln, what do you have to say for yourself?
I think I'm gonna go to bed now.
Okay, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
Sleep well.
Died like a trooper. Never heard a peep out of him.
Barbara, next time we have a fire, remind me to have it catered. I don't have any time to drink this. I gotta get dressed. Will you call Francine, please, and tell her that I'm gonna be late?
Okay.
Thanks.
Alex, what is your problem? Come on, it's all over. Francine, hi, it's Barbara. Look, my mom's gonna be a little late for work, okay?
It's not all over.
Believe it or not, we had a fire.
Barbara, I started the fire.
Francine, relax. Nobody was hurt, okay?
It was me. I set fire to Schneider's camper. I killed Mrs. Cashman's bird.
Yeah, and it was Alex who wiped out Schneider's camper and killed Mrs. Cash. Goodbye, Francine.
It was an accident. I was putting out a cigarette in the camper, and everything got out of hand. Say something, please.
Alex, how could you do something like this? Do you realize the danger that you put everybody in? I guess you do realize.
Barbara, what am I gonna do?
Why don't you start by telling Mom?
I'd rather go directly to Joliet.
This is too big to be one of our little secrets.
Barbara, this isn't just big. This is the worst thing I've ever done. Maybe the worst thing anybody's ever done. All those people out of their homes, the camper, all that money. And now they think I'm a hero. What can I say to her?
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
But look, whenever Julie and I had a problem, and it was something big, Mom was always there for us, like a rock. The bigger the disaster, the bigger the rock.
No kidding?
No kidding. Go talk to her.
All right. Maybe I should have done this yesterday. Barbara, thanks.
What? What? You did what?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. It just happened.
What do you mean? It just happened. Somebody could have been killed.
Mom, take it easy, okay?
Barbara, all of those people that were here last night could be dead. You stood here like a little Boy Scout while everybody patted you on the head. How could you do
I'm
that?
sorry.
You
I'm
may
sorry.
be sorry, but do you know what could have happened?
Schneider, I'm sorry.
Hey, muchacho. What's happened? What's going on, Miss
Schneider,
Mom?
stay out of this, okay?
Mom, he said it was an accident.
Whatever it was an accident, right? Are you sorry? Come on, Miss Romano. The kid's sorry.
Okay, Alex. Tell him what it is you're sorry about.
Oh, what now?
Schneider? I'm the one who started the fire in your camper. Now, I know I was wrong and all that, but you see, Jeffrey offered me a cigarette, and he smokes, and I didn't want him to think I was a baby. I thought the cigarettes were out until I saw the smoke, and I thought I was putting water on the cigarettes, but it wasn't water in the bucket. And Schneider?
You did the fire.
Yeah.
And you... Come here. Come here. my keys and you went in the camper? I don't want to see you around here. I don't want to see you around here.
Does that give you some idea of the enormity of what you have done?
Oh, Mom, come on. Don't you think he's had enough?
No, Barbara, I really don't. Alex, there's something called recourse. You don't think the insurance company just hands out checks for $150,000, do you? I could be their recourse.
He said he was sorry.
My God, Barbara, you think just saying you're sorry is enough to patch this up? I mean, he smoked. He set fire to Schneider's camper. He lied. You lied. Alex, just by being silent, you lied. Oh, I'm at a loss. I mean, it is so... I don't know. I'm completely at a loss, Alex.
I know how bad it was. I know.
All right. Alex! Hi. Hi. Would you sit down? I've been thinking about this all day, and I can't seem to come up with a simple, clear-cut, clean answer. Maybe because there is none.
I know. God, I can't even look you in the eye.
Look, I know the fire was an accident. Do I punish you for almost burning up a building? Or do I punish you for smoking in Schneider's camper and then lying about it? Two different things, right? One is monumental. The other is just very bad. What would you do?
I don't know. The kids at school already call me Alex the Torch.
How did they find out?
They were calling me a hero. They thought I saved people's lives. I had to tell them the truth.
Well, that must have been a very difficult thing to do.
It made me sick to my stomach. See, that's why I'm going to Portland.
No. You are not going to Portland. You're going to stay here and face the kids at school and the people in this building and Schneider and try to figure out some way to make it up to them.
Miss R, what can I ever say that will make them forget what I did?
No, Alex, I didn't say they were going to forget. They may never forget. You could be Alex the Torch. For a very long time. But at least you won't be running away. Your punishment is not leaving. Your punishment is staying.
Good evening, all here. Now, please don't nobody say nothing until I'm finished. And that nobody means you, Miss Romano, with all due respect. Alex, I have been trying to forgive you, and I can't. When you destroyed my camper, you destroyed a very good friend. You also seriously affected our relationship.
I think you ought...
Please. So I cannot be your friend, and I will not be your friend for 1 solid year. We can exchange the, civilities. You can say hi, Schneider. I say hi, kid, but that's it. No more ball games. No more watching TV down in my place in front of the hot plate. No more father and son talks about private stuff. So, that's what that has to be. So, this is goodbye for 1 year. That's what I have to do. That's my punishment for you. Arrivederci.
There may be more of that sort of thing, Alex. Things for you to face.
first of all...
It's raining out, something like that. You can say, hi, Schneider, it's raining out, but that's it.
Schneider? Schneider. I wouldn't do anything to you on purpose. I love you.
I'm sorry, 6 months.
Alex, I think you've gone a long way towards growing up the last couple of days. I found out something about myself. I couldn't love you any more if you were one of my own. So from now on, we're in it together, okay?
Okay? Okay.
3 months, that's my bottom line. 2 months, parole in 2 months.
I know it's not much, but the first thing I'm gonna do is go out and get Mrs. Cashman a new canary.
It's a start.
Listen, maybe later on I'll take him for some pizza or something. I ain't gonna do any talking, and we'll do no talking. Just a pizza, and he buys his own pizza.
Hey, you got something in your eye?
I don't have nothing in my eye. You got, look at your eyes. Your eyes are...
I have always believed that the most revealing moments in classic television are the ones that arrive without fanfare, the ordinary domestic collisions that somehow contain entire weather systems of feeling. When I first watched the sequence that opens this composite of One Day at a Time, I was still living in the same kind of slightly too small apartment that Anne Romano inhabits, the kind where the walls remember every argument and every forced laugh. The sight of Al wandered into a patch of poison ivy behind the school gymnasium. The smell of it, medicinal and faintly sweet, is still somewhere in my memory, and so is the particular shame of being both contagious and comically visible. That is where this episode begins for me, not as comedy but as an intimate recognition. Alex arrives home carrying the news like a small victory. The field trip, the nurse's diagnosis, the week of enforced absence from school, the pink gunk that must be applied and left to the air. He is almost proud of it. I'm contagious in everything he says, and the line lands with the particular brightness of a boy who has discovered a legitimate reason to step outside the ordinary rules. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, a diagnosis like this still carried a faint theatrical quality. Children were sent home with notes with instructions that felt half medical and half folkloric: do not scratch or it spreads, if it goes between your toes you go crazy. The language itself is already comic, already edged with the mild hysteria that adults use when they are trying to frighten children into compliance. Yet underneath the humor sits something quieter. Alex is a boy without a father in the house, living in a world of women who love him fiercely and also manage him constantly. A week of enforced idleness is not merely a holiday, it is a temporary rearrangement of power. He can demand attention. He can occupy the center of the room without having to perform the usual boyish negotiations for space. Then Schneider enters and the temperature of the scene changes completely. I have never been able to watch Schneider walk into a room without feeling a complicated mixture of affection and slight dread. Pat Harrington Jr. understood that the character's exaggerated entrances were not simply comic business, they were a form of self-protection. The man who cannot bear to arrive quietly must arrive as spectacle. Here he comes with his postcard from France, his fistful of bills. his skinny box of flowers performing for the red-headed person as if the apartment were a stage and he the only act booked for the evening. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, he begins, and the familiar carnival cadence fills the space. Anne's reaction is immediate and sharp. She has no patience for the routine today. Can't you just enter a room? Do you always have to do a stupid routine? The words are not merely irritation. They are a refusal of the performance that Schneider needs in order to feel present. For a moment, the air tightens. Schneider's face, which the script never describes, but which I have always imagined as suddenly smaller, registers the wound. He prepares to leave wounded dignity trailing behind him like a coat that no longer fits. And then Anne softens as she almost always does, and the apology arrives and Schneider returns and the domestic machinery resumes its slightly off-kilter rhythm. What stays with me is the speed of that emotional transaction. In most sitcoms of the period, the insult would have been broader, the recovery more prolonged. Here the exchange is almost too quick, as if both characters already know the steps by heart. Schneider needs to be needed. Anne needs at least some of the time to push him away in order to prove she can stand alone. The poison ivy becomes the excuse for proximity. Schneider launches into his own childhood story of the same affliction. The stuff in his ears, up his nose, both nostrils looking like a second-hand flamethrower. The exaggeration is pure Schneider, yet underneath it I hear something else, the desire to match the boy's experience with his own, to claim a shared history of discomfort. He is trying in his clumsy way to be a kind of uncle or older brother, someone who has survived the same small humiliations and can therefore offer comic solidarity. I remember my own mother's face when she had to tend to my poison ivy. She was tired that year, working double shifts, and the extra task of coating my skin felt like one more demand she had not budgeted for. She did it anyway, with a mixture of efficiency and residual tenderness that I only later understood as love under pressure. Watching Anne handle Alex's pink gunk, I feel the same layered emotion. She is practical, slightly exasperated, already calculating how the contagion will affect the household routines. At the same time, she is the only adult fully responsible for this boy's body and its temporary rebellion. The pink medication becomes a small emblem of care that is both medical and maternal, sticky and inescapable. Then the birthday card arrives and the scene deepens. It is from Anne's ex-husband, the man who still confuses her birthday with his mother's, the man who spells love as love. Schneider seizes on the card with the particular glee of someone who has found a wound he can poke. Still carrying a torch for this guy, he asks, and Anne's refusal to answer is itself an answer. The exchange is brief, almost throwaway. Yet, it contains the entire unresolved history of a marriage that ended without clean edges. I have known women who kept such cards for years, not out of lingering romance but out of a stubborn refusal to let the past become entirely mute. The card is less a romantic relic than a reminder that the past continues to mail itself into the present uninvited and slightly off-key. Schneider, sensing the shift in atmosphere, presses further. He has always been a man who cannot leave a silence alone. When Anne finally tells him to get out, the order carries real heat. When the little bird has a broken wing, he begins attempting one of his philosophical flourishes and she cuts him off with a force that feels earned. The moment is small, yet it reveals the delicate hierarchy of the household. Schneider is family and not family at the same time. He is allowed into the most intimate spaces and yet can be expelled with a single sentence when the emotional temperature rises too high. I have always found this dynamic more truthful than the warmer, more sentimental portrayals of the helpful neighbor in other sitcoms of the era. Schneider's presence is a gift and a burden. He brings laughter and also a kind of relentless emotional curiosity that Anne sometimes cannot bear. What I return to years later is the way the poison ivy functions as more than a plot device. It is a visible mark of vulnerability in a household that otherwise tries to maintain a certain competent surface. Alex's pink skin announces that something has breached the ordinary defenses. Schneider's exaggerated stories attempt to normalize the breach by turning it into shared comedy. Anne's irritation and subsequent softening map the daily work of keeping a family functional when the emotional weather is changeable. None of this is announced as theme. It simply happens in the space between the lines in the timing of the entrances and exits in the particular way a man who lives alone in the building's basement keeps finding reasons to climb the stairs. I think often of the physical comedy that never quite becomes slapstick in these early moments. There is no pie in the face, no elaborate fall. Instead, there is the quiet comedy of a boy trying not to scratch, of a grown man performing for an audience that is only half willing to watch, of a woman trying to hold the center while the edges keep fraying. The pink gunk itself is a perfect emblem, medicine that looks like clown makeup, care that renders the patient slightly ridiculous. In the cultural context of the late 70s, when divorce rates were rising and the single-mother household was still being negotiated in public imagination, such small domestic vulnerabilities carried extra weight. The laughter they generate is never purely light. It is the laughter of people who know that the next disruption is already on its way. When I rewatch this sequence now, I find myself lingering on the spaces between the spoken lines. The pause after Anne tells Schneider to leave. The brief silence after the birthday card is read. The way Alex's contagion becomes for a few minutes the only safe topic in a room full of unspoken histories. These are the moments that stay with me longer than the punchlines. They feel less like television and more like the actual weather of family life as I have known it, sticky, imperfect, occasionally ridiculous, and somehow still the only shelter available. The poison ivy will eventually fade. The pink gunk will be washed away. Schneider will return tomorrow with another routine. Anne will still be carrying the weight of decisions that no one else in the building fully shares. And somewhere in the middle of all that ordinary turbulence, a boy will learn without ever being told directly that vulnerability can be both a burden and a strange form of power. That is the quiet education this scene offers, and it is why I keep returning to it long after the laughter has faded. I can still feel the particular quality of silence that falls when a young couple walks into a room carrying news they believe will be received as pure celebration. It is a silence that contains hope and dread in almost equal measure, and it is the silence that opens this second movement of the composite script. Barbara and Mark arrive with champagne and a carefully rehearsed announcement, and the air in the Romano apartment changes the way air changes before a summer storm that may or may not break. I have lived through versions of this moment in my own family, and every time the memory returns with the same mixture of tenderness and unease. Mark begins with the comic flourish that belongs to his profession and his personality. At precisely 12:03 on the university campus, he presented Barbie Jean Cooper with his tooth. The old ritual of pinning has been replaced in the School of Dentistry by the act of toothing. The joke is pure 1980s sitcom invention, yet it carries a surprising amount of cultural information. In an era when young men still felt pressure to mark possession in some public way, the gold tooth becomes both a comic prop and a strangely intimate token. Barbara is wearing a piece of Mark's professional identity in her mouth. The symbolism is almost too neat, and that neatness is part of what makes Anne's face go still. I remember the first time I watched this scene. I was older than Barbara but younger than Anne, occupying that uneasy middle ground where one still feels the pull of romantic possibility and already understands the cost of rushing. The line that struck me hardest was not the joke about the tooth but Barbara's careful list of everything that remains unsettled. They have not set a date. They do not know what they will do about finances. They do not know where they will live. He has not given her a ring. He has not even said the words, "Will you marry me?" And yet for some reason she thinks they are going to get married. The honesty of that inventory is startling. Most television engagements of the period arrived fully formed, complete with rings and certainty. This one arrives as a declaration of intention rather than a finished contract, and the incompleteness is what makes it feel true. Anne's response is the emotional center of the sequence. She does not refuse happiness. She does not denounce Mark. She simply cannot arrange her face into the expression Barbara has been waiting for. The script gives us the later private conversation in which Barbara confronts that deadness, and I have always found the exchange almost too painful to watch in a single sitting. Barbara had imagined the moment for weeks. She had giggled like a silly fool while buying the champagne. She had wanted to see the exact look on her mother's face. What she received instead was a quiet collapse of maternal performance. Anne tries to recover. She offers the careful language of caution. You are both so young, give it time, do not rush. But the damage has already been done. The daughter who wanted celebration has been handed concern, and concern when it arrives in place of joy feels like rejection. What moves me most is the way Anne turns the critique inward. It is not Barbara's fault, she says. It is mine. I have not prepared you for the real world. Your sister plunged into marriage and look at that mess. The comparison to Julie is a wound that the series has been carrying for seasons, and here it surfaces again with fresh force. Anne is not merely worried about Barbara's readiness, she is measuring her own failures as a mother against the evidence of two very different daughters. One rushed and suffered, the other is about to rush, and Anne can already see the possible shapes of that suffering. The fear is not abstract. It is specific, maternal, and laced with self-reproach. Barbara's reply is the cry of a young woman who has been raised to believe she turned out well and is now being told that her happiness is evidence of incomplete education. I thought I turned out pretty good, she says. I didn't know you were making all those mistakes. So poor dumb me, I was happy. The bitterness is not theatrical. It is the bitterness of someone who has just discovered that the version of herself she inhabits is in her mother's eyes still unfinished. Then comes the final thrust, I'm not you, so don't inflict your dreams on me. And the exit line that still startles me with its precision. Excuse me, I'm gonna go play with my dolls for a while. The sarcasm is perfect. Barbara has been told she is 20 minutes away from playing with dolls, and she turns the accusation into a weapon. The door closes, and the apartment is left holding the residue of a conversation that neither woman wanted and both needed. I have sat in rooms where versions of this argument took place. I have been the younger woman who felt her future being managed rather than celebrated. I have also been later the older woman who could not keep the worry off her face when a beloved younger person announced a life decision that felt premature. The particular pain of this scene is that both positions are correct and both are incomplete. Barbara is right that she is not Julie, and that Anne's caution carries the weight of unresolved maternal guilt. Anne is right that love and hormones and the desire to be seen as an adult are not the same thing as readiness for the long work of marriage. The series does not resolve the contradiction, it simply lets both truths stand in the same room until the air becomes difficult to breathe. Schneider's presence during the announcement is its own quiet study in belonging and exclusion. He is invited back into the circle after the initial awkwardness included in the toast offered the role of almost family. Yet he remains slightly outside the central emotional transaction. His comic toasts and fatherly warnings to Mark, be good to her or of course I'll kill you, are the sounds a man makes when he wants to participate in a ritual that is not entirely his. I have known men like Schneider, men who hover at the edge of other people's families offering jokes and loyalty because the alternative is a quieter apartment and fewer reasons to climb the stairs. His inclusion is genuine and also slightly painful to witness. He is needed, but he is not central. The distinction matters. The champagne is opened. The root beer is poured for Alex. The toast is made complete with Schneider's elaborate maritime metaphor about low tide and the stench of clams. Anne does not drink. The refusal is small and devastating. In that single unbroken glass I see the entire maternal dilemma of the series, the desire to celebrate the child's happiness colliding with the knowledge that the child's happiness may contain the seeds of future sorrow. Anne has already lived through one daughter's difficult marriage. She is watching the second approach the same threshold with less preparation than she would like and more determination than she can safely contradict. The unraised glass becomes a form of private honesty in a room full of performed joy. What stays with me across the years is the way the scene refuses easy sentiment. There is love here, real and complicated. There is also fear, self-doubt, generational misunderstanding, and the particular loneliness of a mother who realizes that her protective instincts are no longer welcome in the form she knows how to offer them. Barbara wants affirmation. Anne can offer only caution wrapped in love. The gap between those two offerings is the space where the real drama lives. I think of my own mother's face on the day I told her of a decision she believed was unwise. She smiled. She said the correct words. And afterward, when she thought I was no longer watching, the smile fell away and something older and more frightened took its place. I did not understand that expression until years later when I found myself making the same face at someone younger. The inheritance of caution is rarely graceful. It arrives as a shadow across a moment that was supposed to be pure light. In the Romano apartment, the light is mixed, the tooth glints, the champagne waits, the daughter has already begun to leave the room in spirit carrying her hurt like a second announcement. And somewhere in the middle of all that unfinished feeling a young man who has offered a piece of himself as a token of permanence stands slightly apart, not yet understanding that the real negotiation has only just begun. The engagement is real enough to change the temperature of the household. It is also incomplete enough to leave everyone for a little while standing in the draft. That draft is what I remember most clearly. Not the jokes, not the toast, not even the sharp final exchange between mother and daughter. I remember the feeling of air moving through a room that has suddenly become too small for the future it is being asked to contain. And I remember recognizing that feeling as something I had already lived and would live again every time love arrived ahead of readiness and asked to be celebrated anyway. There is a particular kind of maternal silence that does not announce itself as crisis. It simply settles over a room like a change in barometric pressure, and everyone inside feels it without quite knowing how to name it. That silence belongs to Anne Romano in the aftermath of the engagement announcement, and it is the silence I have returned to more often than any other moment in this composite. I recognize it because I have both caused it and inherited it. I have watched it cross my own mother's face, and years later I have felt it claim my own. The private conversation between Anne and Barbara is the first full expression of that pressure. Barbara wants celebration. She wants the face she has been rehearsing in her mind for weeks. What she receives instead is a carefully controlled collapse. Anne does not say she is unhappy. She says the opposite, and the opposite is somehow worse. It has nothing to do with being happy, she tells her daughter. The sentence is precise and devastating. Happiness is not the issue. Readiness is the issue. Youth is the issue. The absence of a date, a ring, a plan for money or housing, these are the visible markers of an invisible insufficiency. Anne speaks as a woman who has already watched one daughter rush into marriage and pay for the speed. The second daughter is now standing at the same threshold, and Anne can already see the shape of the possible fall. What undoes me every time is the way Anne turns the critique upon herself. It's not your fault. It's mine. I haven't prepared you for the real world. The admission is not strategic. It is the sound of a mother measuring her own record and finding it incomplete. She has raised a beautiful young woman who looks like an adult and is still in Anne's eyes 20 minutes away from playing with dolls. The metaphor is cruel and accurate and saturated with love. Barbara hears only the cruelty. She answers with the wounded pride of someone who believed she had already succeeded at becoming a person. I thought I turned out pretty good. I didn't know you were making all those mistakes. The exchange is almost unbearable in its mutual accuracy. Both women are right. Both are incomplete. The door closes on Barbara's exit line about playing with her dolls, and Anne is left holding the full weight of a fear she cannot make her daughter share. I have sat in that exact silence. I have been the daughter who wanted joy and received caution. I have also been the older woman who could not keep the worry from her face even while saying the correct congratulatory words. The inheritance of maternal fear is rarely elegant. It arrives as a shadow across a moment that was supposed to be pure light, and the shadow is difficult to forgive even when one understands its source. Later that night, the fear expands into something larger and more private. Anne walks out into the cold, into the winter of her discontent, and Schneider finds her there. The scene with the brandy, the blanket, the mucklucks, and the long confession is one of the most emotionally naked sequences the series ever allowed itself. Anne speaks of mortality. She speaks of looking at her life from the downhill side. She describes a dream in which Barbara walks down an aisle carrying a bridal bouquet of baby bottles, sucking on a pacifier, and arriving at an altar that holds a huge pot of glue. One more step and she is stuck. The dream is pure psychoanalytic gift, and the series has the courage to let it stand without explanation. Anne is not only afraid that Barbara will marry too soon. She is afraid that the marriage will fix her daughter in place before the daughter has finished becoming someone. The glue pot is the fear of premature permanence of a life sealed before it has been fully lived. I remember the first time I encountered that dream. I was living through a period of my own when every forward step felt like a possible trap. The image of the glue pot stayed with me for weeks. It named something I had not yet been able to articulate: the terror that commitment might arrive before selfhood was complete, and that the people who loved you most would be the ones who watched you stick. Anne's willingness to speak the dream aloud to Schneider is an act of radical trust. She is giving him the unedited contents of her private weather, and he receives them with the particular gentleness of a man who has nowhere else to put such confessions except into his own large awkward heart. The conversation that follows with Catherine deepens the inheritance. Catherine tells Anne the story she has never told another soul: the morning she woke up in a nice house with a Packard and a husband and a small daughter, and hated all of it, including for a terrifying moment the child. The confession is extraordinary for its era. A woman of Catherine's generation, admitting to a temporary hatred of her own life and even fleetingly of her child, was not common television material. The series allows the admission without punishing it. Catherine's despair passed. Anne's will pass too. The knowledge that the dark weather is shared across generations becomes a strange form of comfort. "We're sharing something," Catherine says, "something miserable." The line is almost tender in its honesty. What I carry from these scenes is the portrait of a woman who has done everything she was supposed to do and still finds herself standing on the downhill slope with nothing to show for the climb. Anne has raised 2 daughters. She has built a career. She has kept a household functioning after divorce. And yet the engagement announcement triggers a full accounting of insufficiency. She has not prepared them. She has not become enough herself. The future is arriving faster than her readiness to release it. The fear is not abstract. It is the specific terror of a mother who understands that love cannot protect against the consequences of timing. I think of my own mother's hands, when she was the age Anne is in these episodes. I think of the way she would smooth the tablecloth after an argument, as if the cloth itself needed reassurance. I think of the nights she sat alone in the kitchen long after the rest of us had gone to bed, not crying, simply sitting with the weight of decisions that could not be shared because the children were not yet old enough to carry them. Anne's night in the cold feels like a continuation of those kitchen vigils. The brandy is only the visible medicine. The real medicine is the act of speaking the fear into the presence of another person who will not use it against her. Schneider's role in this sequence is more complex than simple comic relief. He is the witness who does not flinch. He offers the blanket, the brandy, the ridiculous mucklucks, and then he simply listens. When Anne says she loves him, the admission is not romantic in any conventional sense. It is the love of a woman for the one person who has seen her at her most unadorned and has not left. Schneider's reply, "I love you too, of course. I don't think my loins will ever speak to me again," is pure character, a joke that protects the sincerity of what has just been exchanged. The series understands that some forms of intimacy can only survive if they are allowed to wear a comic mask. By the time Anne returns to the apartment and begins the slow work of repairing the rupture with Barbara, something has shifted. The fear has been spoken. It has been witnessed. It has been placed, however temporarily, outside the body that was carrying it alone. The engagement still stands. The future is still uncertain, but Anne has moved from silent collapse into articulated sorrow, and that movement is its own form of strength. I return to these scenes whenever I find myself watching a younger person step toward a life decision I am not ready to celebrate. The impulse to protect is almost impossible to silence. The knowledge that protection can become its own form of injury is equally hard to ignore. Anne lives inside that contradiction with an honesty that still feels rare. She loves her daughter enough to want her free, and she fears for her enough to want her held back. The heartbreak is quiet because it has no clean solution. It simply continues the way winter continues, the way the downhill slope continues, until something, time or grace or the simple fact of another morning, makes the next step possible. That is the legacy this sequence leaves with me. Not a resolved lesson about letting go, but a precise map of what it costs a mother to stand still while her child begins to leave. The cost is real. The love that underwrites it is also real. And somewhere between the two Anne Romano keeps walking one careful day at a time. I have always been drawn to the late-blooming romance in classic television. The kind that arrives after the children are grown and the major battles of life appear to have been fought. Catherine Romano's sudden entanglement with Gus Webster is one of the purest examples the series ever offered, and it still startles me with its mixture of tenderness, hunger and quiet desperation. When I first watched these scenes I was young enough to find the idea of a grandmother falling in love slightly comic. Years later, I returned to them and found something far more complicated. A portrait of a woman who has spent decades performing respectability and is suddenly allowed for a brief window to remember that she still possesses a body and a capacity for delight. The introduction is almost accidental. Francine's father appears in the advertising office, all courtly manners and careful charm. Catherine is there to steal her daughter for a shopping trip, and within minutes the two older people have recognized something in each other. The script gives us the small observational details that matter. Gus notices Catherine's eyes, calls them warm and alive, and when she replies that they are brown he simply agrees. As if the factual correction is itself a form of intimacy. They leave together to look at linens, and the younger generation is left standing in the residue of a flirtation they did not expect to witness. I remember the particular quality of that exit. It is the exit of two people who have decided without discussion that the afternoon belongs to them. What follows is a montage of ordinary pleasures elevated by mutual attention. Lunch, shopping, the art museum. Catherine returns glowing, speaking of culture and fine manners of a man of the world who is nothing like his daughter. The transformation is visible even in the way she moves through the apartment. She has been for so much of the series, the voice of caution and traditional values, the grandmother who worries about thin blood and proper behavior. Suddenly, she is planning a dinner, borrowing the apartment, arranging the evening as if she were a much younger woman preparing for a first serious date. The series allows her this vanity without mockery. It understands that the desire to be seen as desirable does not expire on a fixed schedule. The dinner itself is the emotional heart of this movement. The coffee is good, better than any she has tasted since the Hotel Astor in New York. The memory of that wartime weekend with her husband opens a door into a past that still carries heat. Gus and Catherine slip easily into reminiscence about radio, about Burns and Allen, about a time when imagination still had room to operate because everything was not already displayed. Today everything is right out in the open, Catherine says. There's no mystery left, no illusion, no magic. It's all sex, no romance. Just off with the clothes, 1, 2, 3 and into bed. The speech is remarkable for its era. A woman of Catherine's generation articulating the loss of romantic mystery on network television was not common. The series lets her speak it without interruption, and Gus receives it as an invitation rather than a complaint. Then comes the line that still catches me off guard. Catherine admits it has been a long time since she has felt like an animal. Gus answers that she is a very sensual and exciting woman. The exchange is brief and almost shy, yet it contains an entire restored sense of self. I have known women who spent years believing that particular current had been permanently switched off, only to discover in the presence of the right attention that it had merely been waiting. Catherine's surprise at her own capacity for desire is one of the most honest notes the series ever struck about aging. She is not performing youth. She is rediscovering a part of herself that the roles of wife, mother, and grandmother had required her to set aside. The physical choreography of the scene is carefully judged. They move closer. They pull back. Catherine clears the table as a form of self-protection. Gus asks her to sit. The air between them thickens with possibility. Then the children return from the movies and the spell is broken in the most ordinary way. Barbara and Alex enter with the noisy energy of the young, and the older couple must rapidly reconstruct the face of respectable companionship. The interruption is comic on the surface and quietly heartbreaking underneath. Desire has been invited into the room and then required to put its clothes back on before it has finished speaking. I return to this sequence whenever I think about the particular loneliness of women who have outlived the roles that once defined them. Catherine has money from her husband's insurance. She has a daughter and grandchildren who love her. She has bingo and needlepoint and the safe routines of a life that no longer asks very much of her. What she has not had for a long time is the experience of being looked at as if she still contained mystery. Gus provides that look. And for a few days she blooms under it. The series does not pretend the bloom is permanent or safe. It simply allows it to exist fully and without apology before the later revelations arrive to complicate everything. There is a cultural dimension here that still feels progressive. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, older women on television were rarely permitted active romantic and sexual interiority. They were allowed to be wise or comic or meddlesome. They were seldom allowed to be hungry. Catherine's hunger is treated as legitimate. When she says she is tired of playing bingo and doing needlepoint, the line carries the weight of years of diminished expectation. The series hears her. It does not rush to correct or contain her. It lets her stand in the middle of her own reawakening and feel the surprising heat of it. I think of my own grandmother in her 70s, the way she would sometimes grow quiet when certain songs played on the radio, the way her face would change as if a door had opened onto a room the rest of us were not permitted to enter. I never asked what she was remembering. I understand now that some memories are not meant for the children or grandchildren. They belong to the private history of a self that existed before we arrived and continued in some essential way, after we had taken up all the available space. Catherine's evening with Gus feels like one of those private rooms briefly made visible. The Sinatra reference that floats through the scene is perfect. They do not need the record. They can make their own. The suggestion is both comic and genuinely romantic. Two older people inventing their own soundtrack in a borrowed apartment while the younger generation is still at the movies. There is something almost triumphant in the image. For a little while, the ordinary hierarchy of the household is reversed. The grandmother is the one with the secret. The grandmother is the one whose pulse has quickened. The grandmother is the one who will later have to decide how much of this new self she is willing to keep. Of course, the story will darken. The charming man will prove to be a professional deceiver. The insurance money will become a target. The restored sense of desirability will be forced to confront the possibility that it was being used, but that later knowledge does not erase the authenticity of the spark itself. Catherine's pleasure was real. Her hunger was real. The brief window in which she felt sensual and exciting was not an illusion, even if the man who opened the window turned out to be a specialist in illusions. When I rewatch these scenes now, I find myself protecting Catherine's happiness for as long as the narrative allows. I want her to have the dinner. I want her to have the compliments. I want her to have the feeling of being an animal again, even if only for an evening. The series is kind enough to give her that much before the consequences arrive, and in that kindness I recognize something rare. A willingness to admit that the capacity for romance and desire does not belong exclusively to the young, and that a woman who has spent decades being useful may still late in the day want to be wanted for reasons that have nothing to do with usefulness. That is the gift this movement of the story offers. Not a permanent transformation, not a fairy tale resolution, but a few hours in which an older woman is permitted to stand in the center of her own longing and feel the surprising warmth of it. The coffee is good. The conversation moves easily. The air thickens with possibility. And for a little while, before the children come home and the larger plot asserts itself, Catherine Romano is allowed to remember that she is still capable of being the main character in a story that has not yet finished with her. I have never been able to watch the unraveling of Gus Webster without feeling a complicated loyalty to Catherine that borders on the irrational. Even after the schemes are explained, even after the Cadillac and the raffle ticket and the quiet theft of her restored sense of self, some part of me still wants the evening with the good coffee and the Sinatra possibility to have been real. That divided feeling is, I think, exactly what the series intends. The con man is never purely villainous. He is skillful, attentive, and in his own damaged way sincere about the pleasure he took in making an older woman feel desirable again. The cruelty lies in the fact that the pleasure was also useful to him. The revelation arrives through Francine, and it arrives with the particular bitterness of a daughter who has spent a lifetime watching the same performance. My father is a professional con man. He's a crook. The words are blunt, almost relieved to be spoken. Francine has carried the knowledge since childhood, marking cards and slipping worms into caviar while other children played ordinary games. The detail about the missionary act in Zanzibar, Father Webster and little Angelica whose parents were eaten by cannibals, is pure dark comedy, yet it also sketches a childhood spent as prop and apprentice. I have known people who grew up inside a parent's long con. The loyalty is complicated. The anger is permanent. Francine's decision to finally name the truth to Anne is both protective and exhausted. Catherine's purchase of the Cadillac is the moment the abstract danger becomes concrete. She does not drive. The car is an absurdity, a $16,000 monument to being swept up in the feeling of being seen. When Anne and the others confront her, the shame is immediate and layered. There is the financial shame of having risked the insurance money that represents safety. There is the deeper shame of having been so hungry for attention that she failed to notice the hunger was being used. There's no fool like an old fool, she says, and then adds the harsher judgment, you can add damn fool too. The self-laceration is familiar. I have heard versions of it from women who discovered later than they wished that the charm directed at them had a price list attached. Gus's return with the partial refund is a master class in controlled damage. He arrives smiling, bearing a check for $12,000 and the remainder promised soon. The explanation of scam number 33 is delivered with professional pride. Sell the car at full price, immediately resell it to a used car dealer at a loss, wait for the new car dealer to smell fraud. Wait for the police to be called on a Saturday when banks cannot verify. Then sue for false arrest and collect the settlement. The elegance of the design is almost admirable. It requires timing, nerve, and a profound understanding of how institutions panic. Gus has spent a lifetime refining that understanding. The fact that he is willing to explain it in the living room only underscores how completely he has already moved on to the next calculation. What undoes Catherine is not the money. It is the discovery that the sensual, exciting woman Gus claimed to see was also a mark. The final exchange on the raffle ticket is almost too perfectly cruel. Catherine has won $1,000, but the stub was filled out in Gus's name for luck. He offers it back with the same courtly grace he has used all along, then switches it for a laundry ticket that will be ready on Tuesday. The gesture is small, almost playful, and completely devastating. Even in the act of leaving, he cannot resist one last demonstration of superior sleight of hand. Catherine's response, "Catherine, you're wonderful. We'd be terrific together," is the sound of a woman still trying to hold on to the version of the story in which she was chosen rather than selected. I think often of the particular vulnerability that age can create around attention. Catherine has money, but she has also spent years being treated as peripheral to the main action of the household. The children and grandchildren occupy the center. Her own desires have been demoted to the category of gentle eccentricity. Gus restored her to the center for a few days. The restoration was real, in its effect, even if it was false in its motive. That is the part the series refuses to simplify. Catherine's pleasure was not imaginary. The man who produced the pleasure was simply unwilling to let it remain unpaid. The cultural context of the late 1970s and early 1980s matters here. Confidence schemes that targeted widows and older women with insurance settlements were a recognized social problem, yet they rarely appeared in mainstream sitcoms with this level of psychological detail. The series does not treat Catherine as merely gullible. It treats her as a woman whose legitimate hunger for recognition made her available to a specialist in recognition. The distinction is important. Gullibility is a personal failing. Hunger is a human condition. Gus is a professional reader of hunger. When Catherine asks whether she will ever see him again, Gus answers with the honesty of a man who has already packed. In my business, one is constantly on the move. The line is both practical and metaphysical. He cannot stay because staying would require him to become the person he briefly pretended to be. Catherine's final plea that he meant it when he called her sensual receives the answer she needs and cannot fully trust. He did mean it. The meaning simply did not outweigh the larger design. I have watched this sequence with different eyes at different ages. When I was younger, I judged Catherine for her foolishness. Later, I judged Gus for his coldness. Now I find myself holding both judgments at once and adding a third sorrow for the brief genuine spark that was never allowed to exist without an invoice attached. The series is wise enough to let Catherine keep a residual tenderness even after the betrayal is complete. She does not spit or curse. She stands in the wreckage of her own reawakened appetite and tries to understand how something that felt so much like grace could have been engineered. The laundry ticket is the final image I carry. A small piece of paper that pretends to be fortune and is only a claim check for clean shirts. It is almost too neat a metaphor, and yet it is perfect. Gus has always been in the business of exchanging the promise of transformation for something far more ordinary and far more profitable. Catherine is left holding the ticket, and the knowledge that Tuesday will come and the shirts will be ready and nothing else about her life will have been altered except the fresh bruise where hope briefly lived. That bruise is what remains after the schemes have been explained and the money partially restored. It is the private cost of having allowed herself to believe for a few days that the story might still have a chapter in which she was not primarily a mother or a grandmother or a widow but simply a woman someone wanted to sit close to, while the coffee was still hot. The series does not heal the bruise, it simply records it with a clarity that still feels rare. And in that recording, I recognize the same quiet accounting I have performed in my own life whenever Charm arrived carrying an invisible bill. I have returned to the scene of Barbara's diagnosis more times than any other sequence in this composite, and each time it arrives with the same quiet force. There is no swelling music, no extended monologue of self-pity. There is only a young woman sitting in the half-dark of the apartment unable to answer the phone and a mother who finally extracts the truth that will rearrange every future they had imagined. I can't have children. I can't have a baby. The sentences are plain. They do not need decoration. They land with the weight of a door closing on a room Barbara had spent her entire life expecting to enter. I was not yet the age Barbara is in these episodes when I first watched them, but I already understood something about the way certain medical sentences can divide a life into before and after. Years later, sitting in a different kind of waiting room, I would hear my own version of irreversible news and recognize the exact quality of silence that follows. The body has delivered a verdict the mind is not prepared to receive. Everything that once seemed like ordinary planning names, nurseries, the casual assumption of continuity suddenly becomes a language spoken in a country you are no longer allowed to visit. Barbara's voice when she says the words is not hysterical. It is the voice of someone who has already spent the afternoon trying the sentences out in private and has discovered they still sound impossible. The medical details are delivered with the particular bluntness of the early 1980s. Endometriosis. Extremely difficult if not impossible. Even with treatment or possible surgery, the chances fall into the miracle category. There is no lengthy explanation of stages or percentages. The diagnosis arrives as a single hard fact and the series trusts the audience to feel its full weight without further elaboration. What follows is not a medical drama but an identity drama. Barbara has organized her sense of the future around the expectation of children. Marriage was the doorway, motherhood was the room beyond it. When the doorway is suddenly bricked over, she does not know what kind of woman she is supposed to become. Anne's response is the careful and perfect response of a mother who has already lived through one daughter's difficult path and is now watching the second collide with something even less negotiable. She reaches for adoption almost immediately, and Barbara rejects the suggestion with the raw honesty of fresh grief. It's not the same. The line is not a judgment on adoptive families. It is the sound of a young woman who has not yet had time to rebuild the story of her life around a different center. Anne tries the deeper reassurance, would I love you any less if I had not given birth to you? The question is meant to open a door. Barbara cannot yet walk through it. She is still standing in the wreckage of the original plan and the wreckage is too fresh for perspective. What cuts most deeply is Barbara's sense of cosmic unfairness. This isn't fair. All my life all I've wanted is to get married and have children, lots of them. She looks at Julie already pregnant and feels the particular sting of watching someone else receive what has been withheld from her. Then comes the question that still startles me with its theological weight: am I being punished for being a good girl in a series that rarely traffics in explicit religion? The line lands like a cry from a much older moral universe. Barbara has followed the rules. She has been the steady daughter, the one who did not plunge into chaos. The reward for that steadiness is a body that will not cooperate with the one future she most desired. The injustice feels personal even though it is merely biological. I have sat with women who asked versions of that same question. The need to find a moral narrative inside a medical event is almost irresistible. If the diagnosis can be understood as punishment, then at least it has meaning. If it is simply the indifferent working of tissue and timing, then the universe becomes colder than most of us are prepared to accept. Barbara's cry is the cry of someone who would rather be guilty than random. The series does not answer her. It simply lets the question hang in the room unanswered and necessary. The later confrontation with Mark is almost more painful than the diagnosis itself. Barbara tries to set him free before he has even had time to understand what is being asked of him. She begins with the classic self-sacrificing maneuver, maybe we aren't right for each other after all. Mark, still operating inside the old story, cannot follow the logic. When she finally forces the truth into the open, no babies. Everything we've talked about is gone. He does what many decent people do when the ground shifts under them. He goes silent. He asks for time. He leaves with the promise to call, and the call does not come for nearly a full day. That day of silence is its own small eternity. Barbara sits with the knowledge that the man she loves is somewhere in Indiana trying to decide whether the future she can offer is still enough. The series does not show us Mark's drive. It shows us the waiting, and the waiting is worse. I have known that particular quality of ours. The phone that does not ring becomes a character in the room. Every possible interpretation of the silence arrives and is rejected and arrives again. By the time Mark returns with his grandmother's ring and the speech about puppies and tropical fish and being together regardless, the damage of the delay has already been recorded in Barbara's body. She will accept the proposal. She will even believe it. But the knowledge that he needed time to decide whether she was still enough will remain as a quiet scar. What the sequence understands, and what most television of the period preferred to avoid, is that infertility is not only a medical condition. It is a crisis of identity, of narrative, of the stories a young woman has been told about what makes a life valuable. Barbara has been raised inside a culture that still, even in the early 1980s, measured female success in part by the ability to produce children. The diagnosis does not merely remove a possibility, it removes a central pillar of the self she thought she was building. The work of the coming years will be the slow construction of a different pillar. The series is honest enough to show that the construction cannot begin on the same day the old one falls. I think of the way Barbara sits in the dark when Anne first finds her. The apartment is quiet. The ordinary sounds of the building continue beyond the walls. Inside, a young woman is trying to rearrange the furniture of her future with hands that still expect the old layout. The diagnosis has not only told her what her body cannot do, it has asked her to become someone whose value does not depend on that doing. The asking is enormous. The series does not pretend she is ready to answer it. It simply stays with her in the first raw hours when the only honest response is the one she gives: "This isn't fair." That unfairness remains the emotional center of the sequence for me. Not the medical terminology, not the eventual proposal, not even the maternal comfort that arrives too early to be received. The center is the plain fact that a carefully imagined life has been cancelled without consultation, and the person who must now invent a different life is still too stunned to begin the invention. Everything that follows Mark's return the ring, the promises of alternative futures, will be built on top of that initial unanswerable wound. The series is wise enough not to heal it too quickly. It lets the wound breathe. And in that breathing I recognize the same long work I have watched others perform and have performed myself whenever the body or the world has refused the story we were prepared to live. I have always believed that the true measure of a love story is not the proposal but the silence that precedes it. In this movement of the composite, the silence lasts nearly 24 hours, and those hours are among the most precisely observed emotional terrain the series ever allowed itself. After Barbara forces the diagnosis into the open, Mark does what many fundamentally decent people do when the future they had been building collapses without warning. He disappears into the only private space he can find, which in his case is the cab of a truck in the long roads of Indiana. He does not reject her. He does not argue. He simply says he needs time to pull himself together, and then the telephone stops ringing. I know that particular quality of waiting. The phone that does not ring becomes a presence in the room, larger and more articulate than most of the people who actually speak. Every hour invents a new interpretation. He is deciding she is no longer enough. He is too kind to say it directly. He is already gone in every way that matters. Barbara voices the darkest version aloud. Might as well face it, I've lost him. And then the deeper, more corrosive thought, how could he? I'm not even a whole woman. The sentence is almost unbearable in its internalization of the diagnosis. She has taken a medical fact and translated it into a verdict on her own completeness. Anne refuses the translation, but refusal from the outside rarely reaches the place where such verdicts are written. What the series understands, and what most romantic storytelling prefers to glide past, is that love is not only tested by external obstacles, it is tested by the sudden discovery that the shared future has been rewritten without consultation. Mark had a picture in his head. The picture included children. When the picture is taken away, he must decide whether the woman who remains is still the center of a life he wants to build. The fact that he needs time to answer that question is not cruelty. It is the honest response of someone who has just learned that the story he was living inside has a different ending than the one he had been rehearsing. The cruelty, if there is any, lies in the length of the silence and in Barbara's enforced solitude while he conducts his private inventory. I have sat on both sides of similar silences. I have been the one who needed the road and the hours to decide whether I could still say yes to a diminished version of the future. I have also been the one left behind inventing catastrophes, while the other person was simply trying to make their own mouth form words that would not be lies. Neither position is comfortable. Both require a kind of courage that looks from the outside like abandonment. The series refuses to judge Mark too quickly. It simply stays with Barbara in the apartment as the hours accumulate and lets us feel the particular weight of unanswered love. When Mark finally returns, he returns into the middle of Schneider's aborted birthday. The timing is almost too perfect in its awkwardness. The living room is half prepared for celebration. Schneider is wearing what he insists is his birthday suit. The air is already thick with the residue of one crisis when another older crisis walks through the door carrying a ring. Mark asks for a moment alone with Barbara, and the request itself is a small act of courage. He has spent a day driving and thinking. He has reached a conclusion. Now, he must speak it in a room that still smells of cancelled festivity. The speech he gives is one of the most carefully constructed declarations the series ever wrote for him. He begins with the admission that he wants children that some men do not, but he does. He refuses to pretend the loss is insignificant. Then he pivots to the harder truth: the picture in his head always included her. Not her alone, not him alone, but the two of them inside a shared life. The diagnosis has removed one element of the picture. It has not removed the central figure. He drives the point further: children are not only for mothers, they are for fathers too. The line is quietly radical for its moment. It insists that the grief is not Barbara's alone, that Mark has also lost a future he wanted, and that the loss does not automatically cancel the love that remains. Then comes the inventory of possible lives. They will have their own children, or they will not. They will adopt, or they will not. They will have puppies or tropical fish. The list is deliberately absurd at its edges, and the absurdity is the point. Mark is trying to say that the specific shape of the family matters less than the decision to remain inside the same story. The grandmother's ring is the tangible proof that he has moved from private reckoning to public claim. He has gone to retrieve an object that carries history and permanence, and he has brought it back to a woman who spent a full day believing she had been found insufficient. I watch this scene now with a different kind of attention than I once did. When I was younger, I wanted the proposal to erase the silence. I wanted the ring to function as a full restoration. Years later, I understand that the silence remains part of the architecture. Barbara will accept the proposal. She will even believe the promises. But somewhere inside the acceptance will live the memory of the 24 hours in which the man she loved needed time to decide whether she was still enough. That memory does not cancel the love. It simply complicates it, the way all durable loves are eventually complicated by the knowledge of what it cost the other person to stay. The cultural pressure surrounding the moment is worth lingering on. In the early 1980s, a young man who publicly chose a woman who could not bear children was still making a choice that ran against a strong current of expectation. Mark's speech quietly pushes against that current. He does not pretend the loss is trivial. He simply refuses to let the loss become the defining fact of the relationship. The series allows him that refusal without turning him into a saint. He is still the man who needed the road. He is also the man who came back with a clearer understanding of what he was unwilling to lose. Schneider's presence during the proposal adds a strange, almost comic counterpoint. The birthday that was cancelled for Barbara's crisis is now being partially restored by the arrival of a different kind of celebration. Schneider, who has spent the day feeling forgotten, suddenly finds himself the accidental witness to a proposal that rewrites the emotional weather of the household. His running commentary about prairie life and circled wagons is pure Schneider. A man who processes every large feeling through the language of outdated masculine adventure. Yet even his bluster cannot fully disguise the fact that he is watching something rare, a young man choosing the difficult version of love over the easier absence of it. What stays with me is the particular quality of Barbara's face when Mark finishes speaking. The script does not describe it, but I have always imagined the mixture of relief, residual fear, and the beginning of a new kind of exhaustion. She has been braced for abandonment. Instead, she has been offered a future that includes the wound rather than denying it. The offer is generous. It is also a demand that she begin the long work of rebuilding her sense of self around a different center. The ring is both gift and assignment. I think of the truck Mark drove across Indiana. I think of the hours of highway and the private argument he must have conducted with himself. I think of the moment he decided to turn around and retrieve the ring. That decision is the true climax of the sequence more than the spoken proposal. The spoken words are only the public record of a private turning. Somewhere on a stretch of Indiana road, a young man looked at the ruined picture of the future and decided that the woman still standing inside the ruin was worth the redesign. That decision does not erase the diagnosis. It does not restore the children who will not be born of Barbara's body. It simply refuses to let the absence become the whole story. In a culture that still even now struggles to imagine female value apart from reproductive capacity, the refusal remains quietly radical. Mark does not claim that the loss does not matter. He claims that the love matters more. The distinction is everything. When I return to this sequence, I find myself protecting both of them. I protect Barbara in the long hours of silence, when the telephone's refusal to ring becomes a form of judgment. I protect Mark in the cab of the truck conducting the lonely inventory that love sometimes requires. And I protect the fragile, complicated yes that eventually passes between them, the yes that includes the wound, the silence, the ring, the absurd list of alternative lives, and the stubborn decision to remain inside the same unfinished story. The future they choose will not be the one either of them first imagined. It will be narrower in some places and wider in others. It will contain grief that has no clean resolution. It will also contain the daily unremarkable courage of two people who looked at a diminished map and decided to keep walking anyway. That courage is what the silence finally produces. And it is why years later, the 24 hours of unanswered waiting still feel like the most honest love scene the series ever wrote. I have always believed that the loneliest moments in situation comedy are the ones in which a character arrives prepared for celebration and finds only furniture. Schneider's birthday sequence is built entirely on that particular emptiness, and it remains one of the most quietly devastating comic turns the series ever allowed itself. He has spent days dropping hints broad enough to be seen from the next county. He has rotated light bulbs and checked ice trays and manufactured excuses to appear at the Romano door. He has performed the role of a man who does not care whether anyone remembers while caring with every exposed nerve. When the day itself arrives, he puts on what he insists is his birthday suit and climbs the stairs ready to be surprised. The apartment is dark. The kitchen is empty. The silence that greets him is complete. I know that silence. I have walked into rooms that were supposed to contain people who loved me and found only the ordinary arrangement of chairs. The body continues forward for a few steps before the mind catches up to the absence. Schneider's response is pure character and pure pathos. He begins a one-man performance of the surprise he has been denied. He narrates his own entrance. He approaches the kitchen area with ceremonial care. He calls out surprise into the empty air and then congratulates the absent friends on how well they have hidden themselves. The comedy is exquisite and almost too painful to watch. He is trying to keep the ritual alive by sheer force of monologue, as if the sound of his own voice might eventually conjure the people who were supposed to answer it. What the sequence understands is that Schneider's need is not really for cake or presents. It is for evidence that he occupies a permanent place in the emotional inventory of the household. He lives in the building's basement. He is the man who fixes what is broken and then lingers for a drink and a few minutes of belonging. The birthday is the annual test of whether the lingering has created actual claim. When the test appears to fail, the failure is not comic. It is the confirmation of a fear he carries in every entrance and every exaggerated routine that he is tolerated rather than required, enjoyed rather than needed. I have known men like Schneider. Men who develop a whole comic persona as a way of making themselves impossible to ignore and who then suffer the private terror that the persona is the only reason anyone allows them to stay. The birthday becomes the moment when the persona is asked to step aside and the naked need is allowed to stand in the center of the room. Schneider is not prepared for that exposure. He has brought the performance instead, and the performance finds no audience. The cancellation of the party is itself a small study in the hierarchy of crises. Barbara's diagnosis has occupied the emotional center of the household. The planned celebration for Schneider is quietly set aside the way smaller celebrations are always set aside when larger weather arrives. No one has intended cruelty. The omission is simply the practical arithmetic of limited attention. Yet from Schneider's position the arithmetic feels personal. He has been forgotten in favor of a grief that is not his. The fact that the grief is legitimate does not make the forgetting hurt less. When Barbara and Anne finally return and when Mark arrives soon after with the ring and the rewritten future, the birthday is partially restored by accident. Schneider finds himself the accidental host of an engagement celebration that has colonized the space where his own celebration was supposed to occur. He adapts as he always adapts. He produces commentary. He offers the language of prairie wagons and circled defenses. He tries to fold the new joy into the shape of the day that was meant to be his. The effort is both generous and slightly heartbreaking. Even in the moment of being included, he is still performing the role of the man who can turn any emotional weather into material. I return to the image of Schneider standing alone in the dark apartment more often than I return to the later, more crowded scenes. That image contains the essential truth of the character. He is a man who has organized his life around proximity to a family that is not legally his and who must therefore live with the permanent possibility that the proximity can be withdrawn without notice. The birthday is the annual referendum on that possibility. When the referendum appears to fail, the failure is absolute for the length of time it takes the others to remember he exists. The series is careful not to punish the Romanos for the omission. Life has simply arrived with a larger claim, yet it is equally careful not to minimize Schneider's disappointment. The one-man show in the empty kitchen is allowed to run long enough for the audience to feel the full weight of the absence. Only then does the household reassemble, carrying its own fresh crisis and its own fresh joy. And Schneider is permitted to resume the role of the man who can be counted on to supply the comic narration. What moves me most is the particular quality of Schneider's recovery. He does not demand an explanation. He does not sulk in any way that would force the others to acknowledge the wound. He simply recalibrates and continues. The recalibration is a form of love and also a form of self-erasure. He has learned over years of basement living and stairwell climbing that his place in the household is secure only as long as he does not make too large a claim upon its attention. The birthday is the one day he allows himself to test the limit of that arrangement. When the test fails, he absorbs the failure and converts it into material for the next performance. I think of the presents that were never given, the cake that was baked for someone else, the champagne that was opened for a different announcement. Schneider moves among these redirected objects with the grace of a man who has spent a lifetime converting near misses into stories. He will later claim that the day worked out twice as well because he received both a private celebration and the larger party at the lodge. The claim is pure Schneider, the insistence that whatever happened was, in the end, exactly what he needed. The insistence is both a survival strategy and a quiet tragedy. In the cultural context of the late 1970s and early 1980s, a middle-aged man without a conventional family of his own occupied a complicated position. He could be the comic neighbor, the helpful handyman, the source of unexpected wisdom. He was rarely allowed to be the person whose loneliness organized the plot. Schneider's birthday sequence quietly violates that rule. For a few minutes, the loneliness is allowed to stand in the center of the frame, unaccompanied by punchlines large enough to disguise it. Then the household returns, the engagement arrives, and the loneliness is required to make room. The series does not pretend the loneliness has been cured. It simply records the moment when it was forced to step aside once again. I watch Schneider in these scenes with a complicated affection that has only deepened over the years. He is ridiculous and transparent and desperately skilled at hiding the transparency inside routine. He is the man who will climb the stairs for any reason that allows him to stay a little longer in the light. The birthday is the one day he asks the light to notice him first. When the notice does not come on schedule, he does what he has always done: he supplies the missing attention himself, narrating the surprise that failed to materialize until the real people finally walk through the door and the performance can be retired for another year. The almost surprise party is in the end the perfect emblem of Schneider's entire position in the Romano universe. He is almost family, he is almost central, he is almost the person for whom the day is arranged. The almost is both the source of his comedy and the source of his private ache. The series is wise enough to let both truths occupy the same room. And in that double occupancy, I recognize something I have seen in other lives, including versions of my own: the careful, exhausting work of remaining close to a warmth that is never quite yours to claim, and the annual private hope that this might be the year the claim is finally recognized. I have always believed that the most dangerous fires in family stories are the ones that begin with a boy trying not to look small in front of another boy. The camper sequence in this composite is built on exactly that ordinary lethal vanity. Alex knows where Schneider keeps the key. Jeffrey is the kind of friend who makes knowledge feel like a test. They enter the camper, the way boys have always entered forbidden spaces, quietly, with the half-thrill of trespass and the half-belief that nothing irreversible can happen because they are still only practicing at being dangerous. They light cigarettes. The smoke is not even their preferred brand. The gesture is pure imitation of a toughness neither of them yet owns. Then the cigarette is finished, or thought to be finished, and Alex reaches for what he believes is water. I can still feel the particular quality of that mistake. The bucket that does not contain what the eye expects. The moment when the small manageable act of putting something out becomes the origin of something that cannot be put out. The fire begins inside Schneider's private world: the stove, the bed, the television, the photograph that might be his mother, and then climbs out of the camper and into the building itself. Within minutes, the ordinary evening has been rewritten as emergency. Sirens, hoses, neighbors in the hallway with the dazed expressions of people who have been told to leave everything behind and cannot decide what everything means. Alex's response to the disaster he has caused is the detail that still undoes me. He does not freeze. He does not hide. He runs through the building, knocking on doors, performing the role of the messenger who saves lives. The neighbors will later call him a hero. Mrs. Cashman will speak of him with the soft voice people use for boys who have behaved well under pressure. The irony is almost too perfect, and the series does not soften it. The same boy who dropped the match is the boy who races ahead of the flames, shouting warnings. Heroism and culpability occupy the same small body, and for a few hours only one of those facts is visible to the world. I know something about that double position. I remember a night in my own adolescence when a careless act of mine produced consequences larger than anything I had imagined possible. The immediate aftermath was a blur of useful action. I moved quickly, I helped, I became the person others thanked. Only later, in the private quiet after the sirens left, did the other knowledge arrive that the useful action had been required because of me. The gratitude of others became a kind of prison. Every thank you was a reminder of the debt I could not yet admit. Alex lives inside that prison for the length of an evening and a night. He accepts the praise because the alternative is to speak the truth and watch the praise curdle into something harder to survive. The death of Mrs. Cashman's bird is the detail that gives the disaster its intimate scale. 10 years of perfect health ended by a fire that began with a boy's cigarette. The bird is named Birdie, a name so simple it almost refuses dignity, and yet the loss is treated with complete seriousness. The men at the lodge will buy an urn. Mrs. Cashman will sit in the temporary shelter of someone else's apartment, holding the fact of an absence that cannot be reversed. In the large arithmetic of the fire, the $150,000 estimate the smoke damaged the displaced neighbors, the bird is almost nothing. In the emotional arithmetic, it is everything. It is the one death that can be named, the one loss that does not disappear into insurance language. Schneider's first response to the destruction of the camper is a kind of grief that the series rarely allows him. The camper was not only a vehicle, it was a portable version of the self. He could control a stove, a bed, a television, a locked door that belonged to him alone. When he says he looked after the building like a shepherd looking after his flock, the metaphor is pure Schneider, inflated and sincere at the same time. The fire has proven the shepherd insufficient. The fact that the fire marshal will later blame vandals only deepens the private wound. Schneider is prepared to accept responsibility for a failure of vigilance. He is not yet prepared to learn that the failure began with a boy he loves. Alex's silence in the first hours is its own form of survival. He stands in the middle of the rescued neighbors and receives their gratitude while the knowledge of what he has done sits in his chest like a second heart. Barbara is the one who finally extracts the truth, and even then the extraction is incomplete. Alex tells her in the half-light of aftermath, when the adrenaline has begun to fade and the larger fear has room to arrive. I started the fire. I killed Mrs. Cashman's bird. The sentences are plain. They do not ask for absolution. They simply place the facts in the room between them and wait to see whether the room can still hold both the boy and the facts at the same time. What the sequence understands with unusual clarity is the particular moral position of a child who has caused adult-scale damage. Alex is not yet old enough to absorb the full weight of what he has done, and he is already too old to be excused by pure childishness. He smoked because he did not want Jeffrey to think he was a baby. He used the wrong liquid because he was frightened and moving too quickly. He ran through the building, shouting warnings because some instinct deeper than calculation still knew that lives were in danger. Every action is understandable. The sum of the actions is a fire that could have killed people. The series refuses to resolve the contradiction into a single moral lesson. It simply lets the contradiction stand the way real culpability often stands, messy, layered, and resistant to clean verdicts. I think of the key that opened the camper. A small piece of metal that Schneider trusted to a boy who had not yet earned the full weight of that trust. The key is a form of belonging. Schneider has given Alex access to a private space the way a father or an uncle might. The access is used for a secret that then destroys the space. The betrayal is not intentional, and that almost makes it worse. Intentional betrayal can be met with anger. Unintentional destruction has to be met with something more complicated: grief for the lost object, fear for the child, and the slow recognition that love has made one vulnerable to exactly this kind of accident. The building itself becomes a character in these hours. The Romanos live on the 4th floor of a 5-story building. The fire begins at ground level and climbs. The ordinary geography of home is rewritten as a series of decisions about stairs and elevators and what to carry. Anne's frantic inventory of the emergency list they once made and cannot now find is pure domestic truth. In the moment of actual crisis, the prepared plan dissolves. And what remains is improvisation and the particular clarity that arrives when the only task is to get everyone out alive. The series stages the evacuation with a mixture of comedy and genuine threat. People argue about coats, someone offers gin. The ordinary personalities of the neighbors continue to operate even while the smoke is rising. Life does not become noble simply because it is in danger, it remains itself only faster and more exposed. Alex's temporary heroism is the detail I return to most often. There is a long tradition in storytelling of the guilty party who redeems himself through courage under fire. The series allows Alex that courage and then refuses the full redemption. He did run the halls. He did wake the sleepers. He also lit the match. Both facts remain true after the smoke has cleared. The neighbors who call him a hero are not wrong about the running. They are simply incomplete about the origin. Completeness will arrive later when the truth is spoken aloud and the hero's medal is quietly set down. I watch this sequence now with the knowledge of every fire I have ever started in my own life, the careless words, the small vanities, the moments when I reached for the wrong liquid because I was moving too quickly and did not want to look weak. Most of those fires remained small. A few did not. The ones that grew large enough to be seen by others always contained the same double movement, the scramble to limit the damage followed by the longer, private work of living inside the knowledge that the damage began with me. Alex is only beginning that longer work. The series is patient enough to let him begin it without rushing him toward a forgiveness he has not yet earned. The camper burns, the bird dies, the building is wounded. A boy who wanted only to avoid looking like a baby has become for a single night both the cause of the danger and one of the reasons the danger did not become a larger tragedy. That double identity is the burden he will carry into the next rooms of the story. The burden is heavy. It is also in its way the beginning of a more complicated kind of growing up, the kind that starts when a child discovers that his actions have entered the adult world of consequence and cannot be called back by apology alone. The morning after a fire has its own particular weather. The air still carries the ghost of smoke. People move more carefully than usual as if the floorboards themselves might remember the heat. In the Romano apartment, the ordinary furniture has been pressed into service as temporary shelter for neighbors whose own rooms are uninhabitable. Mrs. Cashman sits with the knowledge that Bertie is gone. Schneider stands in the middle of the damage trying to calculate a loss that refuses to stay inside the language of insurance. And Alex moves among them carrying the private fact that every kind word directed at him is a kind of counterfeit. I have always found the aftermath more revealing than the fire itself. The flames are dramatic and finite. The hours that follow are where the true moral weather gathers. People invent explanations. They assign blame at a safe distance. They offer coffee and gin and the small inadequate comforts that are all that can be offered when the larger loss cannot be reversed. The series stages this aftermath with an attention to social texture that still feels unusual. The neighbors do not become noble simply because they have been displaced. They remain themselves tired, slightly comic, grateful, and already beginning the quiet work of deciding whose fault the night must have been. Mrs. Cashman's bird is the detail that gives the disaster its most intimate scale. 10 years of ordinary companionship ended by smoke that began in a boy's moment of borrowed toughness. The bird is named Bertie, a name so stripped of pretension that it almost resists elegy, and yet the series allows the loss its full weight. The men at the lodge will buy an urn. Mrs. Cashman will speak of the bird in the soft voice reserved for creatures who asked for nothing and received in the end a death they could not understand. In the large arithmetic of the fire, the $150,000 the smoke damaged the temporary diaspora of tenants, the bird is nearly invisible. In the emotional arithmetic, it is the one death that can be held in a single pair of hands. I have watched people grieve animals with a purity they rarely permit themselves with human losses. The animal cannot be accused of having deserved its fate. The grief therefore arrives without the usual complications of unfinished conversation or unresolved injury. Bertie's death is clean in its unfairness, and that cleanliness makes it almost harder to bear. Schneider's response to the destruction is a study in displaced responsibility. He looks at the wounded building and sees a failure of his own vigilance. I looked over this building like a shepherd looks over his flock, he says, and the metaphor is pure Schneider inflated, biblical, and completely sincere. The fire marshal's suggestion of vandals only deepens the private wound. Schneider is prepared to accept the blame for a lapse in protection. He is not yet prepared to learn that the lapse began with a boy he has treated as something close to a son. The shepherd metaphor will later become almost unbearable in its irony. The wolf was already inside the fold, carrying a key that Schneider himself had provided. Alex's temporary status as hero is the most complicated element of these hours. He ran the halls. He knocked on doors. He performed the role of Paul Revere with a urgency that was not entirely performance. Lives may actually have been saved by the speed of his warning. The neighbors are not wrong to thank him. They are simply incomplete. Completeness would require the knowledge that the same hands that woke them had also struck the match. That knowledge is still locked inside Alex's chest. And the gratitude of others becomes a kind of solitary confinement. Every thank you is a reminder of the truth he is not yet ready to speak. I have lived inside versions of that confinement. The praise that would be ordinary in another context becomes a form of pressure when you know it rests on a foundation you yourself have compromised. You smile. You accept the coffee. You wait for the moment when the truth will finally have to stand in the same room with the praise and see which of them survives. Barbara is the first person to receive the full fact, and even then the reception is incomplete. Alex tells her in the residual smoke of the aftermath, when the adrenaline has begun to ebb and the larger fear has room to arrive. The confession is plain. He does not embroider. He does not yet ask for forgiveness in any formal way. He simply places the truth between them and waits to see whether the relationship can still hold its shape. Barbara's response is the beginning of the longer moral process the series will follow. She does not explode. She does not immediately march him to Anne. She absorbs the knowledge and begins the private calculation of what must happen next. The secret is now shared between two people, and shared secrets have their own gravity. They pull the holders closer and also isolate them from everyone else. The community's need to assign blame is already at work in these early hours. Someone mentions vandals. Someone else speaks of punks. The language is the ordinary language of people trying to keep the danger outside the circle of known faces. It is easier to believe that strangers with bad intentions climbed into the camper than to imagine that the boy who is currently being thanked for his courage might be the origin of the smoke. The series does not condemn the neighbors for this preference. It simply records it. Most communities will reach for the explanation that preserves the largest number of internal relationships. The explanation that implicates one of their own is always the last resort. I think often of the temporary geography of the Romano apartment in these hours. Chairs become beds. Coffee becomes a form of currency. People who ordinarily exchange only nods in the hallway are suddenly sharing the same limited air and the same limited patience. The fire has forced a brief, intense version of communal life that none of them requested. In that forced intimacy, the ordinary hierarchies of the building soften and then reassert themselves in new forms. Mrs. Cashman is deferred to because of her loss. Schneider is deferred to because of his position. Alex is deferred to because of his apparent heroism. The deferrals are temporary, and already beginning to fray at the edges as the smoke clears and the larger questions of responsibility start to surface. What the sequence captures with unusual precision is the way guilt operates in the body before it operates in language. Alex moves through the crowded apartment like someone whose clothes have become too heavy. He accepts the kind words because refusing them would require an explanation he is not ready to give. He listens to Schneider's self-reproach and cannot yet correct it. He watches Mrs. Cashman hold the fact of Bertie's death and cannot yet admit his part in the absence. The guilt is already present. It simply has not yet found its speaking voice. The series is patient enough to let that pre-verbal state exist for as long as it needs to. Confession will come. Accusation will come. But first there is this interval in which the truth is known only to the one who carries it, and the carrying is already a form of punishment. I return to the image of the urn that the lodge men will buy for Bertie. An ordinary object pressed into the service of a small complete grief. The bird will not be restored. The camper will not be restored. The particular trust that existed between Schneider and Alex before the key was used for a secret will not be restored in its original form. What can be restored is only the possibility of a different kind of relationship on the other side of the truth. That possibility is still distant in these early hours. The apartment is still full of neighbors who believe a simpler story. The boy who started the fire is still being thanked for helping to end it. The canary is still dead. And somewhere in the middle of all that unresolved weather, a community is beginning the slow work of deciding what kind of story it will tell about the night the building burned. The aftermath is not yet the reckoning. It is only the open space in which the reckoning will eventually have to occur. The series understands that such spaces are necessary. They allow the smoke to clear. They allow the temporary alliances of crisis to soften. They allow the boy who is still being called a hero to feel the full weight of the name before he is required to set it down. When the accusations finally arrive, they will arrive into a room that has already been changed by the hours of incomplete knowledge. The change is quiet. It is also irreversible. And in that quiet irreversibility I recognize the true beginning of the longer story the fire has set in motion. There is a particular quality of silence that fills a room when a child finally speaks the sentence the adults have been half dreading and half suspecting. The silence is not empty. It is crowded with every alternative future that has just been cancelled, every easier explanation that can no longer be used. When Alex stands in front of Anne and says that he is the one who started the fire in Schneider's camper, the silence that follows is one of the most densely inhabited spaces the series ever created. I have sat inside versions of that silence. I have been the child who finally opened my mouth and watched a parent's face change as the words landed. I have also been the adult who received the words and felt the ground of the household shift under both of us at once. Anne's first response is not a speech. It is a physical and emotional contraction so complete that the script barely needs to describe it. The danger he placed everyone in rises in her at once: the neighbors who could have died, the smoke, the panic, the bird, the $150,000 that will not simply be handed over by an insurance company without questions of recourse. She has spent the previous hours believing or allowing herself to believe a simpler story. The simpler story has just been retired. What replaces it is the knowledge that the boy she has been protecting and praising is also the origin of the crisis. The double knowledge is almost too much for a single nervous system to hold. What follows is one of the most sustained and unsentimental examinations of parental anger the series ever permitted itself. Anne does not soften the edges. She names the full scope of the risk. She names the lying that was accomplished by silence while people patted him on the head and called him a hero. She refuses the easy language of accident as a complete explanation. Yes, the fire began with a mistake about a liquid in a bucket. But the mistake was nested inside a sequence of choices: taking the key, entering the camper, accepting the cigarette, attempting to hide the evidence that cannot be collapsed into pure chance. Anne insists on the sequence. In doing so, she insists on Alex's agency even when that agency is still half-formed and frightened. I have watched parents perform softer versions of this confrontation, and I have watched them perform harsher ones. Anne's version sits in a difficult middle territory that feels to me unusually honest. She is furious. She is also still the person responsible for the boy's future. The fury and the responsibility have to occupy the same body at the same time. The series does not resolve the tension into a single maternal posture. It lets both forces operate at full strength. When Barbara tries to moderate, Anne shuts the moderation down. This is not yet the moment for softening. Softening will come later if it comes. First, the truth has to be allowed to stand without cushions. Alex's confession is not eloquent. It is the confession of a boy who has been carrying a fact too large for his available language. He explains the cigarette, the desire not to look like a baby in front of Jeffrey, the wrong liquid, the panic. The explanation is complete and also insufficient. Explanations of this kind always are. They can account for the sequence of events. They cannot account for the full moral weight that the events have acquired now that they are spoken aloud in the presence of the person whose trust has been most directly violated. Anne receives the explanation without allowing it to become an excuse. The distinction is crucial. Understanding how something happened is not the same as declaring it finished. The conversation about punishment is where the sequence reaches its most interesting moral ground. Anne admits she does not have a clean single answer. Does she punish him for nearly burning down a building or for the smoking and the lying that preceded the fire? The two offenses exist on different scales and yet they are entangled. One is monumental. The other is the ordinary stupid boy-sized failure that made the monumental possible. Anne refuses to pretend the entanglement can be neatly sorted. She also refuses the solution. Alex has already begun to invent for himself the fantasy of leaving for Portland, of disappearing into a geography where the name Alex the Torch has not yet been spoken. Running is not permitted. The punishment is staying. I have always found that decision one of the most exacting pieces of parenting the series ever depicted. It would have been easier in the short term to let the boy escape the daily evidence of what he had done. Easier for him and in some ways easier for everyone who would have been spared the awkwardness of looking at him while the memory of the fire was still fresh. Anne chooses the harder path. He will stay. He will face the children at school who have already begun to use the new nickname. He will face the neighbors who thanked him for his courage. He will face Schneider. He will live inside the consequences rather than being transported away from them. The punishment is not pain inflicted from outside. The punishment is the requirement to remain present inside the life he has altered. The nickname itself, Alex the Torch, is a small perfect detail. Children are ruthless cartographers of weakness and spectacle. They have already converted the night's events into a portable identity that can be applied at will. Alex reports the name with a mixture of shame and the faint residual pride that sometimes accompanies being known for something large, even something destructive. Anne does not try to outlaw the name. She simply places it inside the larger requirement that he remain and endure it. The endurance is the point. Forgetting is not promised. Integration is. What the sequence understands with unusual clarity is that parental love at this level is not primarily a feeling. It is a practice of attention under pressure. Anne is angry enough to say things that will be remembered for years. She is also clear-eyed enough to refuse the solutions that would make her own discomfort easier at the cost of the boy's longer formation. The anger and the clarity are not in opposition. They are two expressions of the same refusal to abandon him to the easier story. The easier story would be that this was simply an accident and that accidents are forgiven by time. Anne will not give him that story. She will give him the harder one, that he did this, that the doing has consequences and that the consequences will be lived out in the same rooms where the love continues to operate. I think of the physical space in which the confession occurs. The apartment still carries the residual signs of the night's displacement: extra cups, moved chairs, the faint smell that never quite leaves after smoke. The ordinary domestic objects have become witnesses. Anne and Alex stand among them and conduct a conversation that will permanently alter the way both of them inhabit those objects. The table where they have eaten hundreds of meals is now also the table where this truth was spoken. The hallway he ran through shouting warnings is now also the hallway he will walk through as the boy who started the fire. The series does not need to underline the transformation. It simply lets the confession occur inside the same geography that the fire threatened and trusts us to feel the change in the air. There is a larger cultural context worth naming. In the early 1980s, the public conversation about juvenile responsibility was already beginning to harden in some quarters and remain sentimental in others. The series occupies a more difficult middle position. It does not treat Alex as a miniature adult who must be made to pay in a purely punitive sense. It also does not treat him as a child whose mistakes are automatically absorbed by the nearest forgiving adult. He is old enough to have made a choice that endangered lives. He is still young enough that the response to that choice will help determine the kind of man he becomes. Anne's insistence that he stay and face what he has done is an investment in that becoming. The investment is costly. It requires her to remain angry and loving at the same time, sometimes in the same sentence. When I return to this scene, I find myself protecting both of them. I protect Alex in the moment of speaking when the words leave his mouth and cannot be recalled. I protect Anne in the moment of receiving, when the simpler version of her son is retired and the more complicated version must be met without flinching. The protection is not a desire to soften the confrontation. It is a recognition that the confrontation is itself a form of care, the kind of care that refuses to pretend the wound is smaller than it is. The truth once spoken does not immediately produce relief. It produces a new and more difficult set of tasks. Alex must learn how to inhabit the aftermath without the armor of secrecy. Anne must learn how to parent a boy whose capacity for large consequence has just been demonstrated. Schneider, still waiting in the wings of the larger story, will have his own reckoning to conduct. But for this hour the center belongs to the mother and the son. Standing inside the wreckage of a night that began with a cigarette and a wrong liquid and ended with a confession that neither of them will ever be able to unhear. The series does not offer a tidy moral at the end of the exchange. It offers something more useful: the image of a parent who loves her child enough to require him to remain inside the truth of what he has done. That requirement is the beginning of a different kind of adulthood. It is also in its severe way one of the clearest expressions of love the household has yet managed. The fire is out, the confession is complete, the longer work of living with both has only just begun.